Hello, readers and digital people, and welcome back to GP Reads. I am your host, Grant Reads, and happy Monday, everyone. I know it's most people's least favorite day of the week, but it is my favorite for a couple reasons. One of those reasons being that I get to do the live dives with you all, and also get to play some games, things like that. Of course, I want to try to fit in an extra day to play games, maybe do some actual games, like Resident Evil, pick back up on Life is Strange, things like that. But for the time being, uh, I'm happy with Mondays. Mondays is the only evening that I seem to have free at the moment. So, hey, happy Monday. But what a way to start our week than with spending more time at the cafe and diner, which I am really excited about today. The story so far has been really crazy in a really good way, just about the best way. Thing is, we got through the characters last time. We got to go a little bit into the archives. We got to see the different realms last time in the Zodiac. But, I mean, aside from that, we really didn't get into the story. So, I mean, it pretty much required a second live dive. Otherwise, it just would have been giving everyone background and saying, hey, go do the thing yourself, which you should. You should go check out Cafe and Diner for yourself. But, in the meantime, I would like to go through it with you. And afterwards, you can go back, comb through it yourself, and see if I missed anything, because chances are I probably did. How y'all doing today? Did you have a good weekend? My weekend was odd, but I went to a pumpkin festival Saturday. It was really good. And had extra yard sale on Friday. Or not yard sale. Extra farmer's market. Okay, I can't even think today. An extra farmer's market. Let me eat a cracker real quick. Had an extra farmer's market on Friday, which was good. I got some extra money from that. Then Saturday, went to the pumpkin festival that evening. And then Sunday, went to go see my grandparents for a while. So it was an awesome weekend, I thought. It's like we have Mikey with us here tonight. Good to see you, Mikey. Always a pleasure to see you, Samantha. And Katie, glad you made it. We will definitely be playing some games this evening. After the stream, we will be doing... we'll be playing a couple different games. Some Jackbox games, and also I got a new game that's kind of like Jackbox, but it's not Jackbox. It's called What the Dub. We'll be playing that tonight as well. Also, I just finished the... I got a huge cheek right now. I just finished the set list for the DJ stream. What I decided to do, take the user 64342 dark web box, the DJ stream, and combine them into the Halloween party so that way our Halloween bash can be freaking amazing. So that's the plan right now. Good to see you, Poof Poof. Stayed up late, huh? I hear you. It's been hard to sleep lately. I'm glad you got to see your daughter, Smith. That's good. MC Darver, good to see you. How'd training go? Alright. Let's go ahead and jump into it. And we will, I'll jump back into the comments in a second. I'm going to keep my screen up here, where I can actually see the chat. I'm going to try to, at least. That way I can interact while I'm going through it. Alright, so where we left off, I'm not sure if we read the additional archives. They're really short. I'm going to read those real quick, and then we're going to jump into the first cafe, which starts out with open doors. So Year Zero archive, the first of what would become the cafe and diner. Follow the True Eight, his trusted associate, and his amour, as they start setting up shop in the outskirts of Long Beach, California. Something isn't quite right, but that's all right. Bundle up, stay warm, and always remember to smile. You're on camera. Yeah, that's concerning. I do think we read that last time, though. I couldn't remember. And sequence number 2. Due to temporal tampering by the fickle Olympian trickster Dolos, ooh, this is where Dolos is involved, the cafe and diner was shifted out of a doomed cycle the world reached. While most of the events here did not actually happen, at one point they certainly did, and later they also more certainly did. Or did they? Well, that didn't go how it was meant to. Another time around should set the record straight. And now we proceed into the first cafe with open doors. Only 8% is archived, which is concerning. But we will head into the open door archive. Whoa. We're going to check this. There's quite a bit here. Oh yeah, there's a lot here. Holy crap. Okay. Open Doors Archive. Having spent the last 3 years... Oh, I forgot to turn the music on. Let me do that real quick. Okay. Having spent the last 3 years officially open for business, the cafe and diner faces a new threat. Organized religion. The nearby Open Doors Church has started peddling coffee. Okay, and the cafe and diner can't have that. Follow the original 8 and his 8 original employees as they go toe-to-toe with Padre Santos and his dark triad. Stay out of the shadow, don't look in her eyes, and try not to see red. Or else, well, you might just end up dead. Alright, this is going to be interesting. This is in 1995. The Anathema Proxy, August through December. Alright, let's start out with COS 1, whatever that is. Reading the comments real quick. Glad it went well. Glad it went well, MC Duff. Ooh, December recital? Is it a Christmas themed one? That'd be interesting. I always like those. Get me in the mood for the season. Because it takes me a while to get in the mood for the season. Okay, why is that? That just links us back here. Category August. Okay, this is clickable. That sends us to 6 for some reason. This just sends us back to 1. I wonder why those 2 are clickable. That also sends us back to 1. Just send us right back to the same page? Yeah, literally does. Right? It's the same, right? Yeah. Okay. Receipt number 1, filed under Diner COS. Date 0E, 1 of 95. Employee number 17. My connections have informed me that a rather unsettling new fast food operation in Long Beach. It would seem our worst fears have been realized. The churches have gotten in our game. A local church has realized it can undercut our operations by selling coffee tax-free. Although I feel this is an abhorrent abuse of their tax exemption status, they are only charging donations. What a load. It's the Open Doors of St. Alfonso Rodriguez Catholic Church, or Open Doors for short. The head of the parish is Padre Antonio Jesus Santos. Everyone calls him Padre. Originally from up north, large and in charge, bad to the bone, comes in at 3 o'clock. His flock seems faithful and more or less unaware of the Canadian among them. No need to go and harass any of them, yet. A source indicates he's brought company with him. Turn this down a little bit. There we go. That's better for me. It was kind of loud for me. What's my volume at, actually? 23. I'm going to turn my volume down to 17. That would make more sense. Okay. Alright. Yeah. A source indicates he's brought company with him. Very typical of Padre. There is no information yet on who he has brought. But be aware, Canadians are roaming around Long Beach. Like, Canadians are dangerous. Padre, of course, is glamorous, to say the least. He's not a significant threat, as he is now. But if he were to take his mask off, it'd be an all-hands affair. Not sure what he's up to, but I'll ask around. Whatever it is, it's bizarre for him to come down to the US to do it. It must be a big play. I'll keep everyone updated as I learn more. In the meantime, try to keep your distance from the Open Doors Church. I don't want him getting antsy for coffee we haven't brewed yet. Alright, so that was receipt number 1. We got receipt number A. Wait a minute. Okay, yeah, there's C6. So we are going to get to that. Interesting that it linked to that. Yeah, they all link to that for some reason. I guess that's the final part of August. And some of these are pretty short. Hey, Zeus, glad you made it. Good to see you. Doing the Grinch. Oh my gosh, I love it, Samantha. Yeah, we're going to be playing a game after we do the live dive, Zeus, so stick around for that. We'll be playing What the Dub, and we'll be playing some Jackbox too. Alright, back to it. Well, well, well. We've got some coffee to brew. This was receipt number 1, filed under Diner AAA. This was on, it was August, apparently. 0295, employee number 53. Alright, let's start over. Whoa, whoa, well, well, well. We've got some coffee to brew. Strong pot of coffee, too. Someone has somewhat illicit footage of an out-of-this-world upcoming project that we can't let go on live TV. And that's precisely what's being threatened. The footage is set to go live on the 2 ETH. Give me plenty of time to swap the cold coffee for hot. Now, I know what you're thinking. Gee, show, out of this world? That good? No, of course not. What it is, unfortunately, a pretty good shot of Mrs. Hillfront getting a slice of pie. Now, you know our customers, and you know they love their privacy. So it's up to me to get this 24 blurred. Also, gotta figure out what's up with Mrs. Hillfront. Double also, why has S&P not shaken this up? If we're hearing about it going balts, and I can only assume S&P has already cleared it for broadcast, we could leave this to them. But I think that S&P might be trying to really shake things up, going off the secrets intel. It might be good to make sure things remain unshaken. I'll do some digging and some planning. If Flower, Secret, or the Healer can fill me in about Mrs. Hillfront, that'd be aces. Alright, this one's CAAA2. I'm not sure why the C's in there. Decaffeinated, courtesy of employee number 1331. Receipt number 2, filed under Cafe AAA. Date 0E395, employee number 26. You called, and I've answered. So let's talk about our friend Mrs. Hillfront. Fair warning, demons aren't exactly my thing, so some details might be off. Mrs. Category, so dangerous, or believed to be dangerous at the very least. Hillfront because of their giveaway feet, which go heel first, and then toes in the back. Baltimore named the Devon. Alright, it was good to see you, Poof. Yeah, take it easy, man. Always a pleasure. Zeus, thank you, I guess. Are demons really instinct? Well, I mean, if you're a demon hunter, I guess. Devon are, at least in Caribbean folklore, thought to be the spirits and or bodies of unbaptized children who have died. Of course, you have to take that with a grain of colonization salt. As Devon are, is that Devon or Duin? Duin? As Duin are around before English were. So what do you really know about these little dudes? Well, they're from the other side. Most likely a mammon. It could also be Maida. Maida? Yeah, it could also be Maida. Regardless. Definitely dead kids, though. The specific conditions that make them into Duin are unclear. So, if they are from a mammon, it could be regional. So only children who die around the Caribbean Sea. Now that's an interesting point. Sea. Yeah, these little dudes pop up around places surrounded by water. It could be kids who died at sea. Kind of like red-eyed children. It might be pretty closely related. Baptism most likely has nothing to do with the Duins come about, but still, it might factor in. So what do Duin do? Well, they're portrayed in folklore as sometimes pranksters and sometimes child snatchers. Occasionally a bit of both. Not taking any chances. We have them at misses because of their possible child snatching behaviors. We do know they have the unique ability to mimic the voices they've heard. Some legends say this is how they lure children into forests. Duins are incredibly rare on the flip side and, from what I understand, are even rare on the other side. They live or socialize in small groups no larger than 5, and there aren't many groups of them. As Duins are a pretty uncommon sight, this AAA case Shudder is working on is interesting. Plus, it's not an alive Duin, it's footage of a dead one. That's weird. And though I do see why they're trying to say this is footage of an alien, Duins do look sort of extraterrestrial, especially this far decomposed. My only concern is that the rest of this Duin group may still be alive and actively trying to recover the body of their fallen buddy. Or get revenge. Hard to say. Just a little bit. Yeah, that's concerning. I do not like that. Next is CDTE01. This is August 4th. August 4th. So what was the other one's E? Makes you wonder if there's something to that. Sounds kind of like a, isn't there a type of cipher that starts with an E? Or has an E towards the beginning? Alright, this is August 4th, 95. Decaffeinated courtesy of employee number 1331. Receipt number 1. Filed under and TTE. There's the date again. 0E0495. Employee number 62. Received a strange hit on the message board. It's not our typical comfort food, and it's from an ID I don't recognize. Whoever entered the site did it with a password attempt, so they knew what they were doing. Here's the message they left. Dear CAD, first and foremost, I am from the future. Well, a future. Time is cyclical and hyperspheroid in nature. I would be surprised if you already knew this or were on the verge of discovering it yourself. I am from an adjacent cycle to your own. When and where I came from is the year 2035, roughly. 4.2496 CCS from your current cycle. I can't say much because everything I say can and will change the course of this cycle, but my goal is contacting you is twofold. I initially traveled back to 1988 to secure an original Barista Tech CAD-COM 88 system due to its ability to decrypt various CAD code ciphers. Most importantly, the Cafe Crisis cipher. There is a receipt from the last cafe that is encrypted using that technique, and it is vital to the survival of my world line. Possibly yours as well. It's been 7 years now, and I've been observing this world line's events, and I've noticed a pressing anomaly. I would like to speak with the owner if possible, to see what he thinks. John Doe. Strange. I want to say it's legit. It could also be a trick to get to face-to-face with the owner. My main hang-up here is, backwards time travel, in theory, is possible, yes, but incredibly hard to pull off. If this were someone claiming to be from the past, that'd be a different story. Still, the jargon makes sense. I think I'm gonna wait and see if our John Doe leaves another message. Of course, you're free to take up his order, Jay, but I think it's best to wait it out and watch their activity from the site. That's interesting. Alright, next is DPG01. From August 5th of 1995. Receipt number 1 filed under Diner DPG. Date OE0595. Employee number 26. We got a strange hit on the message board last night. Looks like... Excuse me. Looks like Mr. Dominic needs some comfort food. Now, you will not have had the pleasure of serving Mr. Dominic yet. No one really has for quite some time. It's a rather aloof customer. Not sure if this is the same Mr. Dominic on file, but the order seems to match. Gruff, sharp nails, rose-colored glasses. Seems he'll be coming in around 1 or 2 o'clock. Could come in at 5, but if that were the case, I'm sure would have seen him by now. Late nights, I head in around the Lone Star area, going to start looking around Mr. Bird's River. Start looking around Bird's River, moving in towards Violet Crown, assuming that Mr. Dominic has come in via the airport. Might need to keep an ear to the ground on this one. Seeing our customer goes by Mr., I think I can manage this one on my own. Plus, seems like we have some time to get this order served, so I won't rush it. It'd be a great chance to get to learn more about this little buddy before he's gone again, if possible. I'll try and bring him over for a cup of coffee. Worst case, I'll buy him a ticket out here via Bird River's basement. There's a lot of code talk here. In case you haven't noticed yet, coffee is not talking about coffee. Talking about otherworldly paranormal cases. Basically, linked to hell and the various layers of hell and the demons that run it, basically. Alright. CDTTE02. August 6th. Receipt number 2. Filed under ANTTE. Date E0695. Employee number 62. You have any idea what I was thinking of then, Zeus? There's some kind of cipher that starts with a letter. I mean, E could just be with a placement. Because, you know, you move it over that many times. That could be a displacement cipher, maybe? Oh, the codes in this series are crazy. I bookmarked the pages because there is no other way to do it. It's based off of foods that they order. Pretty complicated stuff. It's cool. It's a cool idea. But it's not easy. Alright. This gets stranger and stranger. We just got an email. Like a full-on email from John Doe, the time traveler. Sure was a John Teeter. I only ever check the email once a week. So it's a good thing we caught this when we did. Here's what the email said. Hello, CAD. It's me. Which, Cafe and Diner. It's me, John Doe, the time traveler, from the message board. I figured a more direct line of communication might work better. This anomaly is only going to get worse, and unfortunately, the proper people to deal with it won't be around in your world line for another few years, I would know. So it's up to you. And I've been rather formal up to this point, but I am not opposed to dropping names if it gets me a reservation with your owner. Or should I say your John. Get it yet? I don't mean your cafe any harm. I just want to keep your world line intact. And if you don't help me, then I will have to go to Baltimore with the information I have. One way or another, this world line will be saved. John Doe. So I might not have a choice in this matter, especially considering we don't know exactly what this John Doe knows and what he's willing to say. But he does know something. I forwarded the email to the owner, and I'll let him decide what he wants to do. That's probably for the best. This dude could be super risky. It's John. Alright, DPG02. This one is on the 7th, employee number 26 again. How's it, dudes? I just got down to Violet Crown, and I'm setting up shop, ready to find Mr. Dominic. So I think I mentioned this in my previous receipt, but I'm starting over. At the basement, seeing as that's the most likely place to catch him around 2 o'clock. I've got a good feeling this guy's a 2 o'clock kind of customer, you know? I know they don't come in that often, but neither does Mr. Dominic, you see? Of course, if it's 1 o'clock, I've got to figure out what airport has flights coming in around this time. 5 o'clock shouldn't be too hard, though. I guess my biggest concern is Mr. Dominic might have gotten impatient while waiting for me to show up, and has decided to eat elsewhere. I don't think he's gone for the salt. I don't think he's gone in for the salt and pepper yet. Just, I don't know, a tourist can help and take an interest in our customers. Or, you know, there could also be other chains in the area. What's that one that we've got going back home? Padre's Open Door Church and Cafe? It could be something similar here, with how elusive Mr. Dominic can be. It might be a, what would you call it, secret shopper type customer? I'll let you know if I find anything worthwhile, dudes. So there's like people that test the services of otherworldly being helpers, basically. I'm not sure how to process that. Alright, so that's definitely one of the code words, though. Salt and pepper. I'm going to write that down, and we'll come back to the codex at the end. And type in salt and pepper, or not type in, but look at salt and pepper and see what it is. I don't think that was one of them on there, though. It was more like menu items, like tea and cakes and things. So I don't know if we have the code for salt and pepper yet. Alright, DPG03. This was on the 8th, getting through August. Okay. Why is this one's date OE of 95? There's something to that. Anyone have any idea what the OE could stand for? Is that just like X? Like they don't know the actual date? Maybe? It's employee number 26 again now. I don't know. Oh, phone went off. Hey, Roxy. Glad you made it. Good to see you. Well, yeah, A1 Z26, but what if this is E1 or E0? Like, what would be the transition there? I feel like you could, Marceline. I really do. You should. When I'm tired, all I want to do is clean too. I get it. Well, and here I thought this was going to be an easy one, huh? This place is swarming with friends, eager to catch up. I've seen Juliet, Rubanuski, and Estire, and I'm pretty sure I caught a glimpse of what's her name, 5? I'm guessing she's the leader among the based on rank, but I could also be mistaken. And this is a whole quagmire on its own. It looks pretty high though, if that's the case. Well, high for Mr. Dominic. What's that, 12th division? I don't think they've seen me yet, or if they have, they don't know who I am. Which, hey, that's not too bad if that's the case. But I think I'm going to need to blend in a bit better. Can't have salt getting into our coffee so soon. So I think I'll just grab some school supplies and act like a student. It can't be too hard to sneak into a lecture or two, huh? I know how much A23 likes to work in the light, so I'll probably wait until nighttime to snoop around in the basement. Yeah, it makes it more spooky, but hey, I know what I signed up for. Besides, Mr. Dominic sounds like such a sweetheart, you know? Plus, on the bright side, if the SMP disperse, I'll know where Mr. Dominic is. Wait. Besides, if the SMP disperse, I'll know where Mr. Dominic is not. You catch me? That's a pretty good plan. SKWCO1. I want to know what these are abbreviated to. Maybe something to look into later. The owner. I wasn't expecting that to happen. 3 local kids came into the physical location at around 4 p.m. today. 2 girls and a boy. I looked to be around the same age, 15, 17 or so, and they sat down at the counter and asked for coffee, black. Thankfully, I just purchased some instant coffee, or else our little ruse would have been sniffed out rather quickly. In fairness, we should keep real coffee on hand, so in case other tourists feel the need to come into the store. However, I have no idea how they managed to find us, or why these 3 inconspicuous kids wanted to go to standard diner coffee served black. Not really my go-to after school snack. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, of course, using regular children. It doesn't seem like something Padre would do. No. If they were churchgoers, we'd know. We'd know fast. They didn't ask for salt or pepper either. I know Astrid is young, but these 3 didn't give off the same aura that she gives off. The strangest thing was the boy. He seemed to be expecting something, more than the cheap coffee I handed him. There was a look in his eyes that he knew more than others did. Ah, speaking of eyes, the red-headed girl had the most peculiar eyes. Canadian eyes. Perhaps that's why they came in? For some direct service? All in all, though, we made $3. Good to see we're starting to turn a profit, eh? Why do I feel like that A at the end was a reference to Canadians? I know a few Canadians, and they don't do that all the time. It's such a stereotype. I mean, even Justin Tomchuk, Umami, I mean, he's Canadian. I don't know. I don't get it. Don't get how that started. I mean, they do it every once in a while, but it's not like... It's like basically like saying that everyone from Kentucky says howdy y'all all the time. Like, you may catch a few people that'll say it every once in a while, but it's not a predominant thing, so... Whatever. Anyway, this one is filed under Cafe COS. This is OE 10 of 95. Like maybe the OE is the universe or the world line version. Like maybe there's an O A through Z. That's telling us which world line this is, maybe? Because you know there's other world lines because that time traveler's been talking to them. I don't know. Anyway, point number 17. After some extensive research into the matter, I have uncovered one of Padre's cohort's identities. Seemed like he has brought with him Mrs. Pleasant. Last seen in, of course, Point Pleasant 1967 or so. Caused major structural damage to the Silver Bridge, leading to its eventual collapse. Since then, they've either been quiet or hanging around the Hunter Scald. Known associations include Mr. Cold, Mr. Hire, Mr. Grafton, and Mr. Frederick. Obviously, no one has seen or heard from Mr. Cold since the Silver Bridge incident. Mr. Hire is where we left it last time we interacted with it. Mr. Grafton has been seen in and around the area of Hotbed for some time now, but we never had a problem with him. Mrs. Pleasant seems to be using a few Mr. Graftons for muscle, as he has in the past. And then there is the ever-strange Mr. Frederick. Haven't seen or heard from him since 1993. Presumably, he is in the Easter Scald. It is unlikely he is working for or with Mrs. Pleasant. Speaking of Mrs. Pleasant, he is a dangerous blooded demon. Physically, he is not terribly strong, but he can move at alarming speeds when in flight. His most dangerous feature is his hypnotic red eyes. Do not look him in the eyes. Do not look him in the eyes. Upon looking into his eyes, you will be hit with a strong hypnotic suggestion towards self-harm, destruction, and above all else, fear. One look, and you might just find yourself weakening a very important eyebar. One look, and you might find yourself weakening a very important eyebar. Okay. As for his association with Padre, that is an interesting one. Being a blooded demon, he has no obligations to Padre, unlike Padre's more devout followers who have signed their names into his book. I think it's most likely he will be recruited by Padre. Perhaps, once we learn the identity of his other cohorts, the picture will become more evident. I will continue to search around to see what I can find. Remember, do not look in Pleasant's eyes. Okay, I got it. I will not look in Pleasant's eyes. Good grief. Okay. Why do I have the feeling that we're probably going to have to do a part 3? This is way freaking bigger than I thought it'd be. COS 03. I'm thinking about 5:30ish. We'll switch it over to games. Just like another hour and a half, and I'll switch over to games. I don't know, I don't want to cut it short, though. I might actually hold out till 6, and then switch over to games. What do y'all think? Let me see. Go into the comments real quick. Why is this when I'm... Yeah. So E1Z30. That would be A4Z22. I'm gonna write that down. I don't know if that's important, but it seems like it might be. So it'd be a substitution of A4Z22. Okay. Got it. Howdy, y'all. Enjoying this so much. Much love and my greatest respects to you, yours, and everyone here, always. Thank you, Katie. You're so freaking awesome. Katie with $9.99 donation. Really, I appreciate it. You don't have to do that. I keep telling you that, but I really, really do appreciate it. It has helped me out a lot. So, thank you, Katie. Really, really appreciate that. Oh, speaking of which, the last stream, you all did make the goal of the 50 likes. Barely. It was by 1. You had exactly 50. I'd miscounted a little bit. But I'll be doing the Dead Bod song. Hopefully this week. If not this week, then next week. What I'm going to do, I'm going to record myself singing. Then I'm going to have some parts with Ara and Hootie. I'm going to have some live Turkey Vulture parts. So it's going to be a very interesting music video. But I'm excited to sing it. I've wanted to sing it for a while. It's -4. It's not important, it's -4, as Zeus said. I don't know, somebody might have used that cipher before. Zeus. It's gonna be interesting, because it's called Dead Bod, and it's about Ara, and it's about the way Ara eats. So it's gonna be very interesting. It's gonna be a little on the holy crap side, but yeah, you'll see. Luckily, Dad Bod is exactly in my range. Okay. So, minus E, I guess, 11 of 95, employee number 17. I have a smaller update in regards to yesterday's receipt. Sources very close to Padre's church have informed me that he has brought along 3 Canadians to Long Beach. All of them misses. We know about Mrs. Pleasant, but the other 2 remain unknown at this time. My source says they could be of matter and nothing more, but still, I was able to draw some interesting conclusions. Here's exactly what my sources relayed to me. Padre is in your neck of the woods, huh? Ah, that can't be good. Every time he goes out of Ottawa, it's bad news. You aren't recording this on your little barista thing, are you? Ah, who am I kidding? Of course you are. 17. I trust you'll know. Edit up a bit, and as always, leave my name out of it. I can't be seen working with you, and you can't be seen working with me. Anyway, I did hear some ramblings about Padre coming your way. I can't say what for, but I can say he brought 3 associates, 2 haunts, and a scream. None of them owe him anything, except for one of them, but he's already indebted to Mr. Tall, dark, and handsome. If I had to guess, he's only on board because Padre wants his servant's unique talents. And you know, quid pro quo. I'll scratch your back, and you'll scratch mine. Now, as for the other one, well, you know him already, and he's on this, right? Mrs. Pleasant, scary weird guy, blooded. Not sure why he's working for the big man. It could just be a loyalty thing, I suppose. But there's something about those 3 all working together. I don't know if I can give you all the details, but let's just say Padre has 2 books, and their names are in his other one now. What do you mean about books? So take what you will of that. My source is most reliable, and then again, he would have his reasons for lying to me as well. It would seem that there are truly 3 customers working for Padre. They were chosen for a specific reason, a reason that lies with his other book. I know someone who knows a lot more about Padre's various written works, but unfortunately, it will take time to get in touch with them. Also, other books are vague, seeing as Padre has written his fair share of notable books. In any case, I'll continue to ask around per usual. This is getting interesting. WFS01. What if the cipher applies to this? We'll actually get something from this by running the cipher. I don't know. Probably not. Alright. This one is employee number 71. Something is watching us, or perhaps someone. The owner became aware of its presence while I was working on his eye. I suppose now is as good a time as any to update on that as well. I've managed to slow the progress of the blight, but it is still causing him pain. For the time being, I've instructed him to wear sunglasses indoors when possible, and to keep them covered when outdoors. But who am I kidding? He never goes outdoors anymore. But one problem at a time. If you see him without his sunglasses on, please remind him to take this seriously. As for the entity he saw while doing his weekly checkup, there was a shadow-like entity hovering above the corner of the room, about 6 to 8 feet tall, with wide eyes. No distinguishable features. Not corporeal. Most likely a shade or shadow person from Everdark. However, the owner could not fully see it, which is not typical for those types. We've discussed it, and it would seem that this is more than likely a human than a demon. Perhaps some sort of magic user, or some sort of other entity? The owner said he could hear some whispers emanating from that direction when he looked directly at the entity. Currently, they were indecipherable. In any case, please exercise caution when in the physical location. Something is lurking here that shouldn't be. That's creepy as fudge. That is creepy. Right, I'm starting to get Death Note vibes too, Samantha. Seriously. That was so good. That was one of my favorite animes when I was younger. Back when it first came out, I was obsessed. Because I think it was when it came out. It was around that time. I was in school, but... Anyway. Receipt number 2. This is Diner WFS on 13th. Employee number 71. My suspicion paid off. I waited for the owner to inevitably fall asleep at their desk, and lo and behold, our unknown entity made their presence known. Mrs. Umbra came into the cafe just as the owner fell asleep. I didn't interfere with her visit, as I thought it would be rude. From what I could see, she approached the owner while he was asleep. He must have been in a deep slumber because he could not move once she was in the room with him. Once again, whispers could be heard flooding the cafe, and I was able to record them this time. However, they require some degree of translation. The Catcom wasn't able to pick up the whispers consistently. I received outputs including Gis Nagger Donfragger Hamramadahava Van Dahamada Tak Nagrufer Grafizadurak Sakagna Church Knock Trinisada Knockruch Knockruk. Unable to translate. Please speak lower, or have your customer speak slower. Okay, let me try to actually read that. Something like, an ear is not a church or something? I don't know. Yes. Should I have read that in like a weird voice? I feel like I should have, but whatever. For some reason, it triggered the CADCOM's translation feature more than once, but it was unable to yield anything of value. For now, anyway. Once I do figure it out, I'll have whatever language it was added to the next iteration of the CADCOM. For now, it would seem Mrs. Umbra has left, and the owner is fine. I'll be conducting a few tests to ensure that his condition has not worsened from this experience, and to see if he recalls any of the experience. Do you remember any of that? Do you remember any of that? It's not backwards. No, it's not backwards either. Okay, I see. Okay. So you take out the... It's Can Church. You take out the CNAs. And then you... Okay, I see it. I see how to translate it. Okay. Alright. You just look for the repeating pattern. It's graph in this one. Alright, so let me grab it. For some reason, my mind keeps putting it back in. Let me go ahead and grab this. I'm going to try to read it. I'm going to put it into Notepad and delete the parts, and then put them together how they're supposed to go. Because I can see the church one. So I know that the CNA needs to go away, and it makes church. Next one needs to go away. Alright. Nah, it's all mixed up. It's the repeating things, but not all of them have that. Okay, it looks like it's G in the first line. Is Nara done, fam? Is Nara done, fam? Okay, maybe I wasn't... I see there's something there, but I haven't really figured out what it is yet. I know it's CNA at the end, though. I don't know. It's somebody near the church is what he was asking, but I don't know. I have it saved. I'll come back to it. WFS 03. This was on the 14th, and it was employee 71. There is no church, eh? Never figured Umbra to be the church-going kind. I know things about Miss Umbra that I am able to divulge, but what I can share, I will do so here. Mrs. Umbra, aka Umbra, the Shadow Man, the Man in the Hat Man, or simply the Darkness, or Dark for short, is a dangerous entity tied to the Everdark pits of the Amaman. His powers include complete intangibility, lesser teleportation, induced sleep paralysis, and subconscious interference. In every way, he is a living shadow, not dissimilar to shadow beings or shades of the Everdark, though he is a rather unique case. In some regards, he is closer to that of an eldritch being, though he still has mortal ties which bind him to the mortal cycle. Beyond that, I cannot say much, or it would be my head on the lines. Although I can always discuss new information about the Shadow Hat Man. Presently, it would seem rather obvious that he is too working with Padre and Mrs. Pleasant at the Open Doors Church, and if this is the case, it aligns well with Secret's information. Tall, dark, and handsome is more useful for his servant, which, by the way, is a boogeyman known as Red Man. We'll use the name Mrs. Aka for him, as it is the word red in Japanese. On the surface, Mrs. Aka is nothing more than your garden variety bathroom ghost. But do not be deceived. His terms set forth by Padre have imbued him with great powers. Again, my tongue is tied here, but the Redman has been in the service of Umbra for quite some time now, as part of his terms. If this is all correct, then we know who Padre is working with. Mrs. Pleasant, Umbra, and Aka. We also know Umbra is trying to lead us off the trail. Interesting. Let me jump to comments real quick. This is my friend Grant, aka Grant, the Hat Man. Right? I thought the same thing though. Yeah, come on, fam. That's what it was saying. Alright, employee number 26. Don't mean to worry anyone. I've been just fine. Pretty great, actually. Considering I finally located our lovely Mr. Dominic. He did come through the basement airport about, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. He was found by a fellow student of the college, and she's been taking care of him while he waits for our services. I feel a little bad about separating them, you know? But I guess we gotta do what's best for everyone. Or... Okay, well, you see, here's the problem, yeah? I tried to get Mr. Dominic back to his plane to Ottawa, but he wouldn't go. And I don't mean he wouldn't board. I mean, it wouldn't let him board. Which, that's strange, right? I think I know what the problem is, but also, with all the air traffic yesterday, things have gotten very salted very fast. Might have even gotten pepper mixed in, too. But it's going to be a now or never flight, I think. Worst case, I'll bring up Mr. Dominic back with me to the cafe, and have 71 take a look at him to see what he thinks. Unless you all think that's a bad idea with Mrs. Umbra lurking around. Let me know soon. I'm going to give it one more try tonight. DPG 05. Nope, that didn't work. That didn't work big time. Okay, we're heading back the way. Heading back your way, whether you want us or not. This little dude caused a whole blackout just trying to get back through the basement rift. I know. You might be thinking, okay, so maybe that tells you he's from Morningstar. No way, dudes. I think his OS reading, yeah? He's high up in the infernal energies. Like, these are readings I haven't seen before. Although, to be fair, I don't see infernal cryptids that often. He's got maybe a smidgen of Morningstar and Hunter Scald in him, but that's to be expected. I don't know why the rift wasn't taking him back, but we're gonna have to take him for the time being. The good news is, he's a very sweet little dude, and he won't take up too much space either. I'll keep him in the back of the cafe, while the med and I do some research. Also, if Secret can dig anything up on this dude, that'd be a massive help. You feel me? The only thing I'm worried about is Padre. It's kind of a long shot, but there are goats But are goats his thing, kinda? I'm worried about a special little goat friend might attract him and his goons to hassle us. Then again, he might be busy with... What was he busy with again? I need you guys to catch me up when I get back, yeah? I'm way out of the loop, and I've got a whole Quebec party, plus 5 on my tail. Quebec party, why did I say Quebec? Whole Quebec party, 5 on my tail. No worries, though. I'll make sure to scramble him around Sin City. Just know, I'm coming in hot, and with a customer in hand. WFS04. Employee number 71 again. Well, that worked like a charm now, didn't it? Mrs. Umbra is a rather tricky customer to deal with, but she has one undeniable weakness. She can't enjoy her coffee pitch black. The owner and I set a little trap, I suppose you would call it, for Mrs. Umbra. She came into the cafe once more to pester the owner while he tried to catch some shut-eye. Once she was in the room, ready to whisper her complaints in his ear, we shut off the lights. So, the back room is currently off limits as Mrs. Umbra is enjoying the ambience and would like to remain undisturbed. This is far from a long-term solution, as I'm sure Mr. Aka will be in very soon to rescue her, or Mrs. Pleasant, or both. We're not turning on the neons just yet, as I plan to let her go before we close up. I just want to speak with her first. See just how chatty she can be with the right persuasions. If she talks, wonderful. If she doesn't, oh well. We'll make it clear she's not welcome here. In any case, there's no point keeping her bottled up like this. It wouldn't last for long, even if we'd wanted it to. If there is a follow-up report, can you assume she has something of interest to say? If not, I'll most likely close out this tab once the dust is settled and the lights are back on. Guess she didn't. SKWCO2. Those kids are back today, although they didn't come inside this time. I saw them snooping around, looking through our trash, which I think we can all agree isn't typical teenager behavior. Interestingly, though, the boy with glasses kept having the red-haired girl look around the cafe through a modified, planchette-shaped monocle of sorts. I wonder what they were looking for. Perhaps it is best to simply ask them? Then again, few good things come when those ask too many questions. And there are to stop by again. I think I should have a chat with them. See what business they have with the cafe. At this point, I find it hard to believe they simply enjoy the cheap instant coffee, or the lackluster ambience of the late 80s cafe and diner facade. And boy, something of our operations. Wait, the boy knows something of our operations. Why else would he want his coffee black? And the red-haired girl. She had some tie to Ottawa that I can't quite place yet. Oh, and then there's this other girl. She has a look in her eyes that sends chills down my spine. I bet these are the time travelers. The ones that could help them in the future, whatever. I bet this is them. She has the eyes of a haberdasher. No doubt. You know, perhaps that would be interesting to work for the cafe part-time. We do have a few numbers left to fill. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll warn you. I've already made up my mind on the matter. And this one's date is 0E1E of 95. That's coordinates, or time shifts, or something. That's not just something random. There's something to that. Let's see, so after this, we got Satan Sucks, Part 1. It's not even a clickable, it's just Satan Sucks Part 1. Oh, here we go. Satan Sucks Part 2. Okay, so that stuff hasn't been fit in yet. So all we got is the entries at the top. Yeah. We have receipts. So we do have those. Oh, it tells what all the stuff is, I think. Okay, we'll come down to that. Yeah, we'll come down to that after finishing these. We're on AAA3. I like to imagine he approaches the plane that the stairs just start driving away. That makes me happy. Yeah, this ARG is huge, Marceline. Huge. Apparently a lot of these entries aren't even filled in, which means it'll get bigger later, possibly, unless it's classified. Alright. This one is another short one. This one is 0E19 of 95. We're following employee number 53. Now time doth fly, and I've done what I can to blur out that footage of Mrs. Hillfront as she doesn't get all embarrassed on national TV. But there's definitely more to this picture than I originally thought. I've had a little chat with our new friend, Santilli, and when I say firefighter, you catching on now? No wonder they didn't want to stop this mid-flight flick. They produced it, and it's always been a psyop. Not sure the full details other than firefighter, baseball player, milkman, and schoolgirl, but this little film together. Looking at the negatives, it seems like it was originally 22 minutes.
I was able to cut it down and cut it up so it's only 17 now. Now here's the strange part. I thought I put everything back more or less. How I found it. So, where did those other 5 minutes go? What did those other 5 minutes show? I don't know. I can only assume whatever it was something dangerous. Electrical interference? Ultra-wide? A wake-up call to the masses? You decide! I know that the real Ray Santilli is either in on it, as forced in on it, or is just a salty puppet. I'll tab out tomorrow once I know everything is in place, but expect a possible update and an attack plan on the 2 East.
I had to read that in a different voice. 53 seems like he would speak that way, so. That is now 53's voice. Hopefully it was, not a woman. That would be bad. AAA 04. This one's on OE 20 of 95. And it's employee number 53 again. It was 53 last time, right? My brain just blooped on that. Yeah, it's 53 again, which means I have to read in that voice again. Peak voice. Yeah, this voice is perfect. This is the voice of this person. All right. Ted paid for AAA care of 53. All right, here we go.
A Stories 23rd Division uniform attempted to disperse footage of a deceased doing on live TV on the 28th of August 1995. I was able to infiltrate and recut the footage to be more or less harmless. The original footage was supposedly filmed in 1947, following the Roswell incident. The footage I found, destroyed and replaced, was pretty clear it was shot more recently than that, maybe 1992 or thereabouts. So I doubt there is still a Doohan body that needs taken care of. The footage was being held by Ray Santilli, but he sure didn't sound very British to me. Also, he matches the profile of A23's firefighter from uniform. Where is Ray Santilli? And is he even a real person? I don't know. All I know is that the footage is being distributed by uniform. The case for the footage reel was labeled at 22 minutes, but I only found 17 minutes worth of footage. Someone or something must have gotten to it first. A possible theory I've been kicking around. They still have that 5 minutes of footage elsewhere. They've shown the TV studios the 17 minutes and we're planning to slip in those extra 5 minutes. But why? Electrical magic? Maybe. Mass panic? More likely. Obviously, I wasn't able to find those 5 minutes of the missing film, so there's still a chance in there on the 28th. I'm hoping once they review the footage and see the little rubber alien body I spliced in, they'll panic and switch plans. For now, though, I'm tabbing out of this case. I've done what I can to protect the social awareness of the other side, and now I know Uniform's the owner of the footage. I don't really want to stick my nose in their business. Not alone, anyway.
Oh my gosh. Hey, Rep, how you doing? You just had to come in when I'm doing the, unfortunately odd voice acting. How you been? Oh, man. I know you've been through some crazy stuff lately. How you doing? How you holding up? Alright, this one was decaffeinated by employee number 1331. This was on the 21st. And it was employee number 71. Employee number 71, let's give them a voice. Employee number 71, I can't remember who employee number 71 is. I think it was a woman, but I can't remember. So I'm just going to give it a random voice, I guess. Let's see.
I guess I'm gonna go with this one. The shadow entity known as Umbra was caught lurking around the cafe. No.
I've done that one before. I'm not feeling it this time. Let's do a higher pitched voice.
Mrs. Scott with the Jeremy voice. The shadow entity, known as Umbra, was caught lurking around the cafe and diner's physical location, attempting to defuse our efforts in the COS case. While I was able to capture him in a simple, lightless room, he refused to speak more about this or Padre's plans. I let him go before things got unnecessarily dark. I did manage to take a small sample of his table blood. It was sure enough to warn Cafe of his presence for at least a few months. Can't say more about the process due to my own blood oath and the code of silence. You all know the drill. Although our conversation was largely uninteresting, I did confirm Padre's group to be to be that of himself, the Red Man, and the Mothman. Umbra is more or less tagging along so Padre can utilize the Red Man's skills in exchange for something Umbra has been seeking. Well and clear, I believe the implications is that whatever it is that Umbra wants, Padre has it. Mothman is in their group of unknown reasons to Umbra or me. I lost the voice there for a second. If I had to go wager a guess, I guess I'd say it's because a child born of Lilith, he is a loyal to Padre. More loyal and more accessible than his regular boogeyman. Again, more speculation, but perhaps Mothman's presence is to lure out someone more dangerous. Mr. Cold. I would speak more about that, but it's not the code of silence which blinds my tongue. It is the code of the cafe. The owner would be rather cross if I dare say more about it. For now, let's just assume this isn't the case. But I suppose that conclusions are whispers from the shadow for now. But Umbra's tab is far from paid.
I don't know. What do y'all think of employee number 71's voice? Alright, I'm done. I'm done. I'm just so like yelling. I'm sorry, Rep. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry, Katie. Zeus, Darfur, I'm sorry. I just scared him away. I'll be wearing what if I do that voice acting again? Alright. Hey, Flux. Good to see you. Alright, I'm done with that. No more voice acting. Let's just read it. That was such sloppy. Like, it was sliding everywhere. That voice acting went to, like, 3 different high-pitched voices. I should have just did Rufus. Should have went, hi, Rufus. I should have went straight Rufus. I don't know why I didn't go Rufus. Alright, enough of that. Back to seriousness. Alright, the 22nd of 95, the owner. Those strange kids were back again, and after a long discussion with the 3 of them, I am happy to announce they will be joining our operation part-time. We now have employee number 35, 44, and 1313, codenamed Medium, UFO, and Scry, respectively. Employee number 35 will be assisting me in envisioning the future of the cafe and diner, seeing what opportunities are out there and such. 44 will be assisting numbers 62 and 17 equally in their affairs and operations. At his own request, we would like to work on constructing a parking lot in his free time. In case we ever need to park cars, humor him, please. Finally, 1313 will be working and studying alongside 71 and is free to assist 53 when needed. Of course, all 3 are still in school, so don't expect them around the cafe on weekdays until after 4 p.m. Additionally, 44 and 1313 have relatively well-known parents, as 17 has pointed out. I doubt we can keep them working here a secret for long, so I and 71 will keep taking a trip to visit them, and keep them in the loop as well. 35's parents don't seem to be interested in Canadian tourism, so it's best to let them know she is working at an utterly generic cafe and diner for the time being. Okay. DDSKWCO4. What? Okay, 24 characters, 3 words, 35, 44, and 1313. Okay, it wants me to copy the text, which I did. Now I've got to try to decode this, I guess? Alright, well, cipher decoder. Alright, let's try to brute force it. It was not able to brute force it. Anyone know what kind of cipher this is? Let's try cipher identifier. It's that, yeah, Buckcentrics. Let's see if we can identify it. Analyze. It is a base 64. That's what it says. All right, let's give it a shot. Code. Just noticed the music stopped. Yeah, it's not having a good time figuring that out. Any idea what this could be? Yeah, he just noped out. He did. Yeah, we're gonna play, Jack. Stick around. We'll probably play in about 40 minutes. I think I'm gonna do it at 5:30. So we got a little less than an hour left of reading. I'm gonna try to finish out the rest of the entries here on the first cafe, and we'll do the second and third cafe on next stream, and we'll go ahead and do some games tonight. Yeah, I'm just gonna save this to my notepad to decode later, because I'm not sure what type of cipher that is, and the identifiers cannot find it. Wait a second. Okay, let's try it this way, because it's separated by dashes or slashes. Sorry. Let's go back to the identifier. And let's just do the first part of it to the first slash. I can just try to get it all. There's a lot. Okay. Let's just do the first one. Analyze the first portion of text. It says it's space 64. Alright, let's try it. It says salted. Okay, yeah, so that's right. That's actually right. Okay. So salted. I'm gonna write that down. Crap, this is really freaking long. Why did it have to do it that way? You know what? You know what? Let's just copy and paste it all, and I'll just go through and remove the slashes. Yeah, I think that'd be easier. Alright, let's copy it. Paste it. I gotta go through and remove the slashes. First slash is right here. Yeah, doing slashes did not help. That made it very hard to do. But I just gotta remove them all. Alright. There's another one. I'm probably gonna miss a few, but I'm gonna try to get all of them. There's so much freaking lettering here, it's hard to spot them all. My eyes like to dart away from things, so I'm gonna do my best. Yeah, that cracks me up. Rev came in and I started doing the Jeremy voice. He's like, nope, not for me. Not my cup of tea. Oh, I love it. I'm sorry though, man. I'm gonna have to write him later and be like, yeah, I was trying to, I don't know. I apologize for salting your ears with Jeremy voice. It was a nice surprise though. Glad to see you if you're still here, which I doubt. Okay. I mean, I get it that they did that to separate when things start and end, but like literally any other symbol would have been easier to detect. That's the one thing this is not gonna let me search for. Don't ask me why, it just doesn't. I've tried and it just doesn't. Okay. Shouldn't be too many more. A little more than halfway. Why'd the music just stop? Oh, okay. It's starting a new track. Crap, man. But yeah, definitely hang around Phlox. I want to play Jackbox with you, Phlox. You make some of those Jackbox games a million times better. You're so freaking funny, dude. Like, if you don't stay for Jackbox, I'm gonna be really sad. Might even start it early if you have to go. But I do want to at least get through the first cafe tonight. I'd like to make it three's where I'd like to stop on live dive, so I'd like to get it down to 3 and just make the last one longer since it's like the finale. But I at least need to get through this page tonight. The minimum. Bare minimum. Alright, almost done. Freaking grief, dudes. Put a lot of slashers in this. A lot to say here, apparently. Hopefully it'll work right. I don't know if it'll work right. I'm gonna try it, but I don't know. The spaces might make a difference. They might not, but hey, we gave it our best, right? Okay. That didn't help. Salted mother, quadruped, AOP, 1 1/4, E. It's like a bunch of like algebra. There's like a weird J that looks kind of like the pi symbol. There's one of those AE combined things. There's the Shiza symbol. Like, it's not actually called Shiza, but the symbol at the beginning of the word Shiza. K equals whatever that is. Duba. Yeah, yeah, that didn't work. That will be something we will look into later. I still got it saved on my notepad, so. Alright. Let's just close this down for now, I guess. Alright, TTE03. Oh, this is an interesting one. It has pictures. So on the 24th, the owner. Well, I spoke with John from the message board. He takes his coffee with hazelnut creamer. That's for sure. Disregard this nonsense, and instead enjoy a nice cup of coffee. Sometimes it's the least significant thing in life that brings us joy, no? In any case, it turned out to be a whole lot of nothing. I've requested he removes his message and destroys his hard drives, just in case. Wouldn't want to get greedy. But see there? I've said too much already. John Doe should no longer be a problem for us. Besides, we have bigger, more religious fish to fry. Tonguely tied yours, the owner. Alright. This was on August 25th. It's another E0, so 17. So one of them had like a country accent. I think that was 17, maybe? Yeah, post in chat. Yeah, sure. Give me 1 second. I've still got it saved. Just gotta... Yeah, let me do that in the other one that you all can't see. Just in case. My stream key leaks. Okay. Let's go to Discord, or not Discord, go to YouTube. So I gotta switch accounts real quick. Okay. Alright. I love Relived Eternally. I need to look into that again. Alright. Okay, so here's the code. It's gonna be long as frick, so it's also like way too many characters. Can't do that. Sorry. It's 3,196 characters out of the 200 that you can do. So I'm just gonna go post it on Discord, on the Reader's Corner Discord. Yeah, I'm just gonna... Yeah. I'm gonna post it under Naomi though, because I'm signing on Naomi on the other thing, and I don't feel like signing under the other one. So Naomi is randomly gonna post it in Readers, under Anything Goes. If y'all want to jump over to the Reader's Corner, it is in the description. It'll be an Anything Goes if anybody wants to try it. It's too long, so I'm going to have to send it in 2 parts. Actually, but... yeah. It's still too long. What the heck? It was 100 characters too long. Wow, okay. Yeah, it's in the Reader's Corner. Naomi just posted it in Anything Goes if y'all want to look at that. You know what I should have done? You know how derpy I am right now? I just need to post the link to the freaking cafe and diner page. What the heck am I even doing? Okay. So, yeah, it's this one. Let me just post that into the chat. Yeah, I made it as difficult as I could, just because that's what I always do. Yeah, here's the actual webpage if y'all want to go there and check out the code. Yay, glad you'll be there, Flux. Okay. Okay, so, yeah. Anyhow... I'm going to close that down and jump back into it. We are in CSO4. So I'm going to go in CSO4 T3. Just get it in order. There's this layer. 6. And ASG01. Okay. Number 4 looks to be a little bit long. The rest of them are short, I think. 4 T304. Yeah, standard length. There is no password, okay. Makes no sense right now, but yeah, that's another short one. And then this one's regular length. Okay, yeah, we can burn through these pretty quick. Alright, back to employee number 17 on the 25th. I've been speaking with 71, and he has put me in touch with an extraordinary contact of his, Shaka from Zulu. I'm still in the process of putting all the strings in the right places, but Shaka's knowledge is invaluable. Of course, 71 was not able to accompany me due to the reason that Shaka will kill him. Okay, but still, I appreciate the connection. Here is the transcript of our conversation approved by Shaka to be Zillant compliant. 17. SOT. Thank you for sitting down with me, Shaka. I must say, it is an honor. Why is that? Do you consider me to be special? 17. From what I've heard of you, you are very special indeed. Shaka. Baseless rumors and nothing more. After all, I am the head of the lowest Astoria, 23rd Division. 17. Ah, if you insist. Shaka. Now you have got my contact information. I can only assume 71 gave it to you. Is that so? 17. I can't say. Shaka. 71 did always choose good friends. Now, I assume you wouldn't bother me unless it was a pressing matter? 17. Padre. He's in Long Beach. Shaka. So? He and his siblings do travel from time to time. Is he threatening anything specifically? 17. He's working with Miss Umbra, Miss Aka, and Miss Pleasant. Shaka. Ah, that does change things. Miss Umbra. Now that is a threat worth considering. And what do you want me to do? Go give this to Alpha? 17 and Shaka laugh. Okay. I don't get the joke! Shaka. No, of course not. Do you want Zulu to take care of this? 17. No, we can handle this. Besides, I'm sure Zulu is busy with things I shouldn't know about. No, I just need to know about Padre's other book. Shaka. Oh, so he's going that route. Interesting. I can't say anything about that. My lips are sealed. But I'm sure you could bother one of his cohorts. He would know all about that book, assuming you could find him. 17. A lead is a lead. Thank you, Shaka. Shaka. One more thing, 17. Tell the number I need to speak with him concerning the Indigo Wars. EOT. It's a shame he would kill me, for Shaka truly is a useful informant. Well, I don't know if he would kill me, but I assumed he doesn't take kindly to Zulu defectors. Without saying much, the term of my employment with them were pretty much clear on leaving. You don't. However, Shaka will not hunt me down. He is far too busy with the Zulu and their work. Besides, as long as I keep the code for silence, he should have no problem with me other than I am a few years late to work. That is a problem for the future. For now, it seems we need to find Dorian. 71. Oh, reached the end of the playlist. Okay, well, I need to restart it. Okay. This was on the 26th. The owner. Well, hello once again, everyone. I had to be careful with that last report. Maeve might be clever, but she is too much like her sister Sarah. They don't dig too deep if you leave an obvious crumb for them to find. They say Lucy is the Prince of Pride, but surely Maeve could come in second place. Kiss up to her, and you can stab her in the back later. Again, perhaps I'm saying too much. Now, about that anomaly. It would seem there's an alternate world line similar to ours is crashing into ours. This phenomenon, while rare, does happen occasionally. Minor temporal anomalies occur all the time. Brand names change, movies and books appear and disappear. It's nothing to worry about. It's almost like plate tectonics, a temporal earthquake of sorts. Except, this one doesn't seem to be natural. This seems forced, planned. As he prefers to be called, John Doe is from the alternative world line that is crashing into ours. In his world line, the significant difference is that the Indigo organization doesn't exist. In their place is the 55 Society, led by none other than Maeve. Well, their Maeve, not ours. The thing is, we owe our Maeve a hefty debt, so going directly up against her alternate world line itself is perhaps not a great plan. In fact, her finding out that an alternative world line version of herself is trying to persuade her world line, well, that could get messy. Still, I want to help John Doe. I know him, in a sense. And before you start speculating, no, he is not just the alternative world line version of myself. I did think that. Still, he is family. Cafe family. So we will do what we can do. I've already helped him with his cipher problem, and it has led to more problems. More and more. It seems like we might need to venture into this other world line, and if we do, it would be wise of us to use nom de plumes and pen names to do so. I've chosen 9 because I am uncreative. Start thinking of yourself, and when the time is right, I will let you know who is going where and when we must go. If the time is right in our absence, we will not even be noticed by Maeve. Sarah might notice, but I'm banking on her not to care. Additionally, we should not use our CAD-coms to document this any further, as that would alter things in ways I cannot even predict. In the back behind the Next Generation poster, I've stashed a few CAD-coms from their world line. They won't turn on until we are close. They won't turn on until we are there, and once we are back, they should disconnect again. Yours in nom de plume, 9. There is no password. Okay. Alright, now we're to receipt number 6. This one's filed under Cafe COS. It's on the 31st. The owner. Well, it seems the path forward is pretty clear. We need to track down Dorian Gray and see what he knows of Padre's other book. Miss Umbra, Pleasant, and Akka are in that book and currently working for Padre. They are operating out of a local church, and they know we know about them. The good news is that we now have a second person on staff with second vision, so that should help our investigation into the Open Doors Church and other affairs. Additionally, 71 has informed me that 1313 is indeed gifted as far as magic goes, which is very useful. It never hurts to have more practitioners on hand. And of course, I have to mention 44. His mind almost surpasses mine. Once 62 gets him up to speed with other tech, we should be in relatively advantageous position against Padre and his little cabal. Oh yes, and how could I forget? Mr. Dominic is staying with us for the time being. He's rather cute, isn't he? What do you all think of what his proper name should be? Don't worry too much. I've already decided to name him Francois. Also, there was the whole Indigo affair. But as we've already discussed, it will not be discussed here, yes? Other than that, another month has come and gone. Yet we are still here, still serving coffee. I consider that an unequivocal success. Yours in August. 8. Alright, now we're back to receipt number 1. This one's in September 1st of 95. The owner. Well, it's been almost a year now since our co-owner Lucy Firewald left us. I wish I could say we've been doing just fine without her, but you all know some days are more trying than others. What I wouldn't give to go back to that summer once again. Well, perhaps I do know what I would give. The question is, would it even be worth it? Not to mention the big bad elephant in the room, Padre. Seems too coincidental that he would show up once she has left. He's making some sort of play he could only make with Lucy around. I wonder, if there were others like Lucy around, would he still feel so bold? Well, no reason to ponder hypotheticals. We must focus on the here and now, yes? And for us, the here and now seemed to be Mr. Dorian Gray, a consort of Padre. As I understand it, Padre's little, catter? Little catter? Has 3 tiers. At the highest is his court, comprised of various high-profile customers such as Mrs. Pleasant and the odd Turco-Saurian customer. Then below, there are the rest of his Terpsichorean friends. Think of them more like workers in his operation. He makes contacts with each and every one of them, outlining what he will give them and what they can and cannot do. This is actually a power all 6 of his siblings share with him, but he is the only one who seems to indulge. Well, I say that, but I know one of his other brothers also enjoys a good binding contract. There I go again, talking off the cuff. You'll have to excuse me. Finally, at his lowest tier are his many consorts. Husbands, wives, boy toys, friends, jesters, and muses of Padre Santos. His consorts, romantic and otherwise, are simply people he finds interesting. They are not granted the same titles as his court or dancers, but they tend to soak up many secrets hanging around Padre's house. That, and they tend to receive many strange gifts from Padre. Strange gifts like a portrait that contains Mr. Gray's eternal youth. Whoa, that's crazy. Speaking of Mr. Gray, as some of you were wondering, is Dorian Gray not a fictional character? Well, this is true, but sometimes fiction is more than meets the eye. While it isn't my place to say who is really real in life, I know that our Mrs. Gray was a contemporary of Oscar Wilde who took on the titular name of Dorian Gray in death. I don't know the exact details of whether Padre's portrait came first or the nickname did, but fictionally the character is similar to the real-life counterpart. Also heard Gray had a fallout of sorts with Padre about what I couldn't say. Perhaps it is tied to this whole church thing that's been going on. Now about Gray's portrait, it has been painted by Padre himself, if you can believe that Padre is anything of an artist. The portrait allows Gray to traverse between Canada and America relatively freely, although it requires a certain amount of sin to stay youthful. It has a symbiotic relationship with Mr. Gray, and worse, he is in America. The more powerful his painting becomes in Canada, the more powerful his painting is, and more youthful and American he appears. Becoming American to not appear as a Canadian. This is quite the plot twist. Of course, any harm done to the painting also harms Gray. Spoilers for Wilde's novel. So now, it is a question of where we can find Mr. Gray or his legendary portrait. Either one could be in Canada or America, but as I understand it, they can't be in the same country at the same time. I'll have secret see if any of his connections known of his whereabouts. And to our new employees, keep your eyes and ears out. You'd be surprised how many people drink coffee around these parts. Interest. Right, D1. App. Breathe. C1. Breathe 2. Mop 3. And this 3. September 2nd. Oh, it actually has the date on this one too. September 2nd of 95. Employee number 53. Why is this one not redacted? Like, what's the difference there? Anybody know? It's from a playlist, actually, Fluxcat. I'm not sure exactly what it's from. It's from a playlist of free use music. Alright. Well, someone's keeping busy. I was out late last night, taking a walk to near my friend's house when I noticed in the rearview mirror of a nearby car some big, bright, glowing eyes. So it is pretty safe to say that we are being watched. If I had to guess, I'd say it was Mrs. Pleasant from the Open Doors Church. Then again, I don't feel anything looking around into her eyes to find out. She's a real nasty customer, especially once you lock eyes with her. Not to mention, she has a penchant for the unexpected. Ironically, we need to keep an eye on her, too. If she hangs around in the area too long, well, let's just say it'll be a disaster for sure. Oh, right, we have newbies with us, right? I'm sure you've been very diligent cafe workers and already done loads of studying up on our current clientele. But if you're out of the loop, let me just cover the basics of Mrs. Pleasant. Name says it all. She's practically famous in West Virginia. I'm sure you've heard by now, but do not look in her eyes. Easier said than done, as one of her special little tricks is making you think she has more eyes than she really does. It's usually best to just cover your eyes and get out of there as soon as possible. Of course, I wouldn't recommend running, as Pleasant is more flight than fight, and is good at it too. Her chosen mode of transport can reach up to 60 miles per hour, so running just wastes your energy. Cover your eyes and get somewhere safe. Well, wait, hang on, chill. What happens if you look in her eyes? Well, then you get the pleasantry of having her sell you a nasty, thick milkshake. Once you gaze into her eyes, it's all but impossible to refuse the allure of her special frozen treat. Milkshake sounds pretty good. However, I've heard a few sips, and you've got yourself extreme paranoia, fear, nausea, and suicidal thoughts for, a few hours tops. So let's not drink the milkshake, yeah? Heck, we're coffee people anyway. Good news is she can only really make so many milkshakes at once without having to restock her ingredients, which are only found in Canada. If you can get her to serve you a milkshake, but not drink it, that's the best way to deal with her. Of course, she's still fast, strong, and rather deadly, but without her eye trick, you're more likely to survive a tango with her. Ah, that reminds me, tango. She doesn't dance, so don't expect anything from her in that regard. Now, Aka, she'll dance, but her dance card is pretty full at the moment. In any case, just keep your eyes out, but down, for Mrs. Pleasant. She's looking around Costa Mesa. I'm not sure if she's got her eyes on us or something else in the area, but that's pretty far from the church. Could just be a right place, right time thing, though. But I'm mostly certain she gave me the once over. Might be worth snooping around that area just in case she is up to something more. Like I said, disasters are to be expected. Alright, Mop 1. September 3rd, 95. This one's not redacted either. Employee number 35. There's only certain employees that do that. Hi. This is my first report. I guess receipt? The number that comes after 7 told us to feel free to write receipts whenever, so here I am, writing. Not that I don't have something to discuss, of course. I'm just, I've noticed that these are the very stream of consciousness, huh? Very journal-esque, but like a journal you should share with all your friends. Oops, sorry. I mean, associates, right? 'Cause friends are, well, you know, they'll probably know better than I do. Anyway, sorry for rambling. A bit nervous and not sure what I should or shouldn't say. I mean, I know what not to say in the diner. At least I think I know what not to say. Anyway, I want to talk about Canada a bit. I guess I should put this in the cafe, but I gotta learn how to talk the diner talk at some point. So let's talk about Canada. For those who don't know, but I assume you've been filled in on the whole deal before, I get postcards. Yeah, postcards from Canada. Sort of like from the owner, as he gets half of the postcards from Canada. Except I get the whole thing. But only when I want to. Well, I say I want to, but it doesn't always feel like I have much control over it. You know, sometimes things get lost in the mail and take a while. I think it's easier for me to get postcards at places that sell them, like airports. In theory, though, I can get them just about anywhere. Sometimes, I do get a postcard out of the blue. And that happened today, when we took our company trip to the graveyard. Something about that place. It gave off big postcard energy. I feel like I'm doing a horrible job at this. I don't say anything while they were there at the house. I didn't say anything while we were there because it didn't seem like a good time to say anything. I mean, when you're staring at the tombstones with your number on it, it's pretty heavy stuff. And I didn't want to interrupt the owner or anything like that. But I got a postcard when I saw my tombstone. It was a postcard of somewhere very bright and sunny in Ottawa. Unfortunately, that's all I really know about it. Oh, and that there is a lot of feathers in the postcard? I'm not totally sure what that means, but from what 44 tells me, it's probably something that you'd be likely to see at 1 o'clock, if that makes sense. If it'd be okay, and you think it's a good idea, maybe I should go back to the graveyard with my camera to see if I can get a better picture of a new postcard. I figured I'd ask before going on my own because there are obviously some heavy memories tied up for you all. But I don't want to be disrespectful. Plus, with what the owner said today about how dangerous it is to serve coffee and all that, well, I want to make sure I'm not doing something that could get me in trouble, you know? Well, I hope this was an okay first receipt. Sorry, it doesn't explain as much as yours usually do, but practice makes perfect. Another one, point number 26. This one is also not decoded, or also not drinking the milkshake, right? Big postcard energy. We need to remember these things. Yeah, another one that's not encoded. Oh, it's this guy. Okay, this guy's like Surfer Boy. I need to do Surfer guy.
How's it, dudes? We've got a returning customer flying today. I'm sure y'all remember Mr. Triango?
Trigano.
Mr. Trigano from the New Kids? Let's just say he's a very important guy, yeah? Well, I'm sure you can't connect these dots, or at least 44 should. He's a clever little dude. Oh, I guess it's probably not enough to know who he is, but what this whole deal with us, yeah? Well, he first came into the cafe around 1 o'clock 2 years ago. So like 93. He needed help, and we needed him. And then he kind of stuck around for a bit, and I started to get romantically involved with him. I know, not very professional to date customers, but something about him was just different. Hard to explain. Of course, dating long distance is hard sometimes, and things fell through. Not in great terms with either due to, I wouldn't worry about it. So, now that all the old coffee is down the sink, let's get into the return of Mr. Trigano. He swooped in earlier this morning, just wanting to talk. I didn't think to turn on my cat call, and I probably wouldn't in this case, cause all of our history and all that. Aha, well, he isn't coming by to rekindling things, I know that much. He's worried about Mrs. Pleasant. The two of them apparently go back quite a bit. They're cousins or something along those lines. And obviously, Mr. Pleasant takes her coffee at 3 o'clock, and she takes it bitter. While Mr. Trigano is more soft and gentle coffee with cream type, he's never really told me about their whole feud. But it's not even just between them. It's a real big McCoys versus Hatfields type thing. Not really any of our concern unless someone wants to buy a cup and talk it over. So, all that to say, Mr. Trigano is going to be hanging around again. Mostly to keep an eye on Pleasant. But apparently, his home has a bit of turbulence since the whole breakup. Not our breakup, but the big, sad Blightly breakup. She's been on a bit of a post-breakup mania, and Trigano wants to get away from all that for a bit. I don't think he'll be actually coming in for coffee or whatever anytime soon, but if you need him, just yell for CL, and I'm sure he'll come soaring in.
Not doing that voice again. Alright, employee 62.
Got a bizarre hit on the board today. Seems like a patron of ours has had a run-in with some unorthodox customer. Apparently our patron saw this customer, their order entirely online. Obviously, customers tend to come in to pick up their orders, or at the very least, we go to them. But this sounds like a fully digital affair, which I suppose isn't out of the realm of possibility, but it is. Well, it is something different. I'll have to keep looking into it. And here's what I know about the new customer. I'm going to guess their title is Mr. for now, but I might need to bump it up to Mrs. if we get to know them. Doubt this is a miss, but we can't rule anything out at this moment. Based on the board post, the last name is something along the lines of Zolfa. So, Mr. Zolfa, odd name for an odd customer, I suppose. I mentioned earlier, Mr. Zolfa seems the only place orders online. Probably hard to track them down. So we might need to send him an evite to the cafe if we want to get a hold of him.
All that is currently really known about Zolfa is that wherever he goes, he leaves a particular message, either in source code, image data, ciphers, or other means of hiding data. So far, it seems to always ask the same 3 questions. Do you see this? Can you see this? Can you enter hell? As far as I know, or our patron knows, there's no obvious way to respond to him just yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if we'll have an answer to those questions if we were going to take his order. Also, not sure what difference is between the first 2 questions. Do and can are different, I'm sure, but I can't quite place how yet. Perhaps we have to see the message. Then we can see the message, if that makes sense. Well, I'll do some digging and probably up our internal security while we're at it. The last thing we need is Mr. Zolfa getting into our systems. Mr. or not. That was kind of a fun one. On the 6th, still not encoded, is a Cafe BBVR, or employee number 44. I had to see the Mr. Tragano for myself, so I gave him a call. Wait, is this that guy again? Yeah, it is. Okay. I had to give Mr. Tragano a call for myself, so I gave him a call. Personally, I never much into this whole spooky monsters and magic thing. There's always been my sister and my parents thing. However, Mr. Tragano caught my eye. 26 is correct. There's something about him that is different. Almost extraterrestrial. The number did say I could work on parking lot in my free time. And perhaps Mr. Tragano could be a key of some sort. Oh yeah, this is also my first receipt. Exciting! But now, let's get to business. Okay, this is not the same person. Let's get to business. As 26 mentioned in her report, Tragano and Pleasant are cut from a similar cloth. Not necessarily brothers, but cousins at the least. They aren't demons in the same sense that, perhaps Akka is a demon. Demons obviously come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, but you can generally categorize them into roughly 3 groups. At the lowest tier, you can have bog standard demons, mortal souls that upon death found themselves on the other side. Above them would be the Pleasant and Tragano, blooded demons, as I've heard them called. Basically, these are demons that were born on the other side, and thus their dad 9 times out of 10 is the biggest bad. And then, above these blooded demons are the 7 princes of the other side: Lucifer, Mammon, Satan, Belphegor, Beelzebub, Leviathan, and Asmodeus. Their dad is for sure the biggest bad, and their mom is, or was, Eve. According to legend anyway, although it makes sense that their powers are somewhat divine in nature. Now, of course, this is just research I've gathered from the CAD files, and from word of mouth, from my family's dog. You learned it from your freaking dog, excuse me? Long story. Well, not that long. Well, my dad's familiar, a demon. Okay, that makes sense. We call him Norbert. Norbert. And from what I understand, not much of this is new information, seeing as the number must know most of this already. But that he must not know yet, as I think Tragano and Pleasant are from the rare one of the 10 group of blooded demons, not related to the biggest bad. I need some time to cross-reference, and my brief interaction with Tragano didn't reveal much yet. But maybe I could have more extended chat with him, and perhaps even a chat with 26 about my theories. Another normal-sized one. This is with 1313 on the 7th of September. Totally radically right, yeah. Sorry, I didn't hit it far out, dude. Yeah, if I was a surfer, I wouldn't have an accent. That doesn't make sense. I don't pick up on accents. It's not something I do. Yes, smoothest of transitions. Okay. I'm too lazy to bother with diner or whatever, so just expect a lot of cafe stuff from me, okay? Anyway, I took 35 back to this CAD grave to see if she would see anything through her planchette. I guess I was there more or less for moral support? And maybe you could think of it as a date. A spooky graveyard date. You have spooky graveyard dates too? Relatable. Well, it could have been a nice date if things didn't go so weird on us. That's actually why I'm writing this report thingy instead of Red. She sort of, well, passed out. Whatever she saw really took it out of her. She told what she was seeing up until we ended up getting zonked. So I'll try my best to remember, but I wasn't paying that great of attention, so you know. If I miss anything major, I'm sure Red can fill you in when she's awake again. So Red was saying she saw some kind of bright white light, almost too bright to really see anything. But then she said she saw a white tree come into focus, probably like birch or something. So she went to get a closer look at it. The tree was positioned like probably the tree of life or something. Or the tree of knowledge, maybe. Positioned right where 35's grave was, as far as I could tell. Then Red said that the tree started to move, or something started to move. Then something, snake. Then the snake saw her, which is weird, I think. I'm not totally sure. Yeah, something the tree of knowledge. Or the tree of, Yggdrasil, I think it's called. The, like the world tree with the serpent around it. The tree positioned, where was I? Yeah. Red said that the tree started to move, or something started to move. Then something snake-like. Then the snake saw her move, which is weird, I think. I'm not totally sure how the whole second sight thing works, but it's supposed to be one way, not two. From how she's described it to me. Then the snake, I guess, leapt at her and something because she jumped back. Then she just sort of stood there staring at nothing through her planchette, and then, boom, fainted. I dragged her back to the cafe, and now I'm just writing this. Waiting for her to wake up. I guess either she'll wake up, or someone else more experienced will show up and, I don't know, do something? Don't worry, she's still breathing. And it's not the first time she's fainted like this. So, to sum up, I guess bright plane of hell, white trees, snake, and it's all tied up to the original 35's grave. Who's the original 35? I need to put that in my notes. Who is the original 35? I need to remember that. Okay. Oh, there we got, now instead of the month, now the date is blocked out. So it's 09 OE of 95. It's play number 62. Shill was right. Pleasant is on the move, in and around Santa Ana, Costa Mesa, and Newport Beach. I figured it'd be a good idea to set up some game cams around the general area where Shill saw Pleasant. And out of the 20 cams I set up, I got 6 hits. 3 in Costa Mesa, 2 in Newport Beach, and 1 hit in Santa Ana. Now obviously, this is a bit out of the way of the church. I guess when you aren't subject to traffic, it's not that far. But still weird that she's lurking around this area. Especially considering, well, actually that coffee might be too hot for the cafe. I'll put it this way. It's interesting that she's flying around here and in that pattern. It doesn't really discount the possibility that she's watching us specifically, does it? Well, we know that Umbra knows our location, so I assume if Umbra knows, then Pleasant knows. And of course, Padre should know too. Maybe it's a scare tactic? A warning? Pleasant sure does love her warnings. Speaking of, that's the other thing I'm worried about. As we all know, Pleasant likes to cause a scene, especially near roads and bridges, and almost looks like she's sizing up for the 405. While she does love a good game of bridge, she doesn't mind a drive either. I think as long as it's a traveled path, it's fair game in her big scary eyes. So where does that really leave us? Well, we need to be ready to stop her if she is going to try and take down a section of 405. We also need to be ready to relocate if she is trying to close in on our location. Again, she should already know where we are, but so far, we haven't had any visits from her directly. You know, maybe Trigana was actually keeping her away. I hate this. Too many unknowns. You know that Pleasant is flying way too close to us, and way too close to a major highway. And we know she's out here, we know she's out of her glamour often. That screams unnecessary risk, and I doubt Padre likes unnecessary risks. Alright, got 3 more shelves. Let's dig in. And we're at 5:30. Yeah, it's gonna be like right at 6 probably when we finish these. But I definitely want to finish this today. Only got 2 more and then 1 at the bottom. Alright, mop 3. This one's not blocked out. This is September 9th of 95, employee number 35. So, that was weird. Very weird. 1313 did a pretty good job covering what happened, but I don't really have much to add. Other than that, I'm fine, by the way. I appreciate 71 checking in on me, but it's not the first time it has happened. If I look at the postcards for too long, it tends to wear me out. It gives me eye strain or whatever. I figured I'd add on with these extra details that 1313 just didn't know because, well, she's not me. So she thought it was a birch tree in the postcard, and I also think it was a birch of some kind. It was white, but it had like these eye patterns on it. But instead of being dark like a birch, they seemed to be golden or something yellowish and shiny. The leaves were also very yellow and shiny for that matter. Then I felt like the eyes pattern on the trees blinked at me, or maybe just the light got in my eyes. Weird. Anyway, that's when one of the branches turned into a snake thing, but I'm pretty sure it had wings too. The snake with wings slid around the trunk of the tree, and it just kept going and going and getting longer and longer. It was so long it almost seemed like it was the tree. Or a part of the tree? But anyway, the weird part was that it raised its head and looked at me. Like, I locked eyes with it for sure. I guess it could be a coincidence, but I totally got the feeling that I was being watched, being observed. Then the snake sort of thing slithered down off the tree and went behind me. And then I got really dizzy and passed out from looking at this crazy interactive and animated postcard. The future, am I right? So I'm not sure what, if anything, this all means. Ottawa is a weird place that makes weird postcards. Sometimes I can only assume things are normal for them and very weird for us. The main question is whether or not that snake could see me, or if I was looking at the person taking the picture of this postcard. If you get what I'm saying. Also, snakes are weird, right? I remember 44 telling me about that once. Or maybe I'm just misremembering. I mean, it could have been a memory of someone seeing it come down, but that is kind of weird. All right, this one's on the 10th of September, 95, play number 26. CL just stopped by. He wanted to warn me about Jenny, our new 35. For now, I'm just sending this report out to the original employees. Nothing against the new kids, but I don't want to freak them out or anything, you know? And I'm not planning on CCing Jay. He'll find out eventually. But I want to speak with you guys for right now. Anyway, dudes, let's get into this, yeah? Oh my gosh, it's the surfer guy again. I'm gonna do it last part.
Anyway, dudes, let's get into it, yeah? So we all know what happened with the whole, last year? No need to pick those scabs right now, but something stranger has been happening in the other side. And I don't mean the whole Padre and Long Beach thing. It just seems Sarah is hanging around in Morningstar.
So, yeah, I can't do that voice right now. So, we'll see your kids at the least. There's been atmospheres slithering around. Okay, I'll do it, never mind.
Well, their kids are at least. There's been an amphitheater slithering around, I think his name is. Hermes or something along those lines. I know for sure he's one of Sarah's favorite serpents. When Jenny burned herself out the other day, she thought Hermes looked at her. But he was looking at Ciel. This is to say Hermes wasn't trying to look at for Jenny. It seems that serpents have particular interest in her, and I can only assume it's due to her natural second sight powers. From what I know and Ciel has told me, second sight in general is power under the domain of Sarah. Due to the nature of space-time, it's basically the power to see far into the future. Now, I'm no dummy.
Well, I'm switching voices.
But I doubt the rest of you are either. Our boss has some weird connections to Sarah. In fairness, it wouldn't be the only princess of hell he has weird connection to, yeah? But during the whole, the thing we aren't really supposed to talk about too much, the, Indigo operations, he seemed to know more about Sarah than they did about Lucy. You don't think that's where they broke up, do you? You know? Lucy finds out he was dating her sister? Can you imagine? No point in particular on Jay's love affairs, at least not in place you might see it. What I do find interesting, and maybe concerning, is how Sarah seems to be slithering about and trying to get her tail around 35. I don't know if we can really do much to protect her, but I don't want her to, like the last one. Ciel knows what to take up with Lucy, but she's not really into taking requests at the moment. We just need to keep an eye out for the snakes around the cafe, especially atmospheres. Although I assumed Hermes would hide his wings if he came flipside.
Oh, my voice. September 11th of 95. 62. Troubling news per usual. Our patron who informed us of the Zolfa is dead. Dead or missing. Most likely dead. So ring the wedding bells. She's a missus, at the very least. Not sure if she's seeking a divorce yet. Of course, there is always a chance of patron is not visited by Mrs. Zolfa. And then again, this patron is not, or was not, a light tipper. No, he had rather deep pockets. Deep enough, I'm sure the Shakers are going to look into this fast. We need to be faster. Secret was acquainted personally with this patron, and we're both going to take a trip to Buckeye, where our patron used to live. I suppose I should also elaborate on what I know so far. I heard that our patron Death's disappearance was from his next of kin. Apparently, he had been looking into the Zolfa's enigma rather deeply before he vanished on the Earth. No blood, minimal struggle. One note left behind, which I'm sure you guessed that is said. Do you see this? Can you see this? Can you enter hell? The note was not written by hand. It looks like it was printed out, which leaves me conflicted. At first, our patron and I assumed Mrs. Zolfa had some sort of digital entity, and printed note goes along with this theory. However, how does a digital entity kill or displace a physical entity? Right now, I'm assuming it's almost like a pseudo-technological entity, like Mr. Cold or, like Mr. Cold. Speaking of Mr. Cold, there's the possibility that this is, in fact, Mr. Cold. A bit north for him, but he's known to travel. Cryptic repetitive phrases. Technopathic abilities, or maybe it's the same thing that Mr. Cold is, which we still don't really know much about, or who Mr. Cold is. As far as I know, we never officially served Mr. Cold. We have files on him, which mostly seems to be borrowed from our friends, but no mentions of him ever having been served a cup of coffee. Well, hopefully, Secret and I can find out more about this person. BBRVO 3. Mr. 3. Oh, it's another one of those. I'm gonna post it in the chat. Not even gonna try it. We already tried. If y'all can figure it out, please let me know. I would love to know what it says. It's a big one. Whatever it is, it's a big code. Yeah, the voices are also killing me, killing my throat. Alright, there's the code. Alright. Dis 03, receipt number 3. File under Diner Dis. 913 of 95, employee number 71. It's a short one. I saw something interesting in the paper this morning. A column by Peter H. King, The Four Horsemen Unhorsed. He opens with, "Something strange is afoot in California. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to even think about it." King speaks of a strange calm that has claimed the state following the various disasters in prior years. Floods, fires, quakes, the usual calamities. Normally, I am not one to take much stock in the papers, especially seeing how the sausage is made, but I still can't help but feel this unnatural calm myself. Then it hit me. It isn't just calm in California, it's downright pleasant. Uh-oh, that's bad. Miss Pleasant's there. When we think of our lovely customer Mrs. Pleasant, many remarks of her rather off-putting stare, but we often forget that her other, shall we say, charm she brings with her is an eerie and unnatural calm before the storm. Like a spider injecting venom to soothe its meal, it makes us far too compliant for what is undeniably coming next. Where there is Mrs. Pleasant, there is sure to follow a disaster. Perhaps her midnight walks have served as a way for her to calm the air a bit. But why? What is she planning to order? And can we be the ones to fill it? Or perhaps everything is alright after all. Besides, we have greater things to worry about than Mrs. Pleasant. She is only a Mrs. after all. Perhaps it was all just in my head. There is no calm in chaos after all. Perhaps we should just relax for once and take a second to actually enjoy the coffee before it goes cold. Cold, huh? I feel like I'm forgetting something. Something important. What do you mean? This is on the 14th. Employee number 17. This is the cowboy. 17's the cowboy. I know it is. I'm gonna do the cowboy voice. Katie says you're an extraordinary talent. These voices are killing us all. Thank you, Katie! Another $9.99 donation. Holy crap. You don't have to. I appreciate it, though. Holy crap. Thank you, Katie. You're awesome. Prick. Thank you. Seriously, thank you. Oh my gosh, okay, let's do it. Sorry, do that right in the microphone. Alright, let's do the cowboy voice. Alright, let's see if I can actually muster this. I'm from a southern state. Hopefully I can actually speak with a southern accent. Okay. Nice to be out in a cafe for once. Not to mention, it gives me a chance to ask around for Miss and Mrs. Gray in a new setting. However, the disappearance of our patron comes first and foremost. For without our patrons, who would we peddling the coffee to? If you aren't fully caught up in our sick affairs, the brief version of it is, Mrs. Zulfa, a new customer possibly, seems to have scared away one of our longtime patrons here in Buckeye. We aren't sure if our patron was merely scared away or scared down south. We hope he was only scared away, but it looks like he packed his bags for an extended trip. Looking around, there's really not much to see in a very literal sense. No traces left behind of our patron or Miss Zulfa. We've examined the left behind notes, although, upon closer examination, it seems fairly unremarkable. Laser printed size 12 font. The only thing that is off about this scene in general is a few knocked off books and an unplugged computer. Also, there seems to be a faint metallic sheen on a few surfaces, which points towards Mrs. Zulfa placing her orders in person and scaring away our patrons face to face. As y'all expect me to do, I've also been asking around, and I've seen we've got friends visiting too. There might not be any mountains here in Buckeye, but it sure seems like we've got a whole mountain range closing in on us. Well, not on us specifically. Our patrons, or what's left of, or what he left behind. Not sure if the pep squad knows we're here too. Probably a good idea to get out of here before they notice us. We've already got the band team trying to get our goat. Again, in a very literal sense. No reason to kick the hornet's nest as well. We're going to get out of here as soon as we can, and we're going to leave the note where it can be found out for the Shakers. There is the possibility that this is something they'll just toss over their shoulder anyway. Then again, our patron reached out to us before it ran away, so we had better help find him. Cafe's owner and all that. That was awful. That was such a bad southern accent. I am sorry, Kentucky. I am so freaking sorry. Oh man, that was so stereotypical and awful. Alright, receipt number 4 filed under Cafe BVR. This is on September 15th of 95, employee 71. Oh man. Oh, the reactions right now. Zeus is dying. I'm sorry, Zeus. Just for the word Buckeye. Thank you, Zeus. I appreciate it. Thank you, my friend, for the 9.99 euros, I believe. Or is that pounds? I don't know. I don't know the symbols. Thank you, though, Zeus. I appreciate it. Thank you. That's 2 euros. I'm pretty sure. Thank you. Alright. Correct me if I'm wrong. Employee number 71. Mr. Tragano paid us a visit late last night. We had a small chat about, well, a few things, actually. Yeah, I think it's euros, but I don't know. Well, a few things, actually, but mainly concerning his distant relative, Mrs. Pleasant. I've included what I can in the transcript below. Although I fear some of the coffee we shared together was a tad bit too hot, even for the cafe. Right now, I have no plans to release more details in the form of a receipt, although I'm always happy to share what I can face to face. Most of what can't be shared is very interesting either, so I wouldn't worry much about it. SOT. Number 71. CL, good to see you. Here for some late night coffee? CL. And comfort food, 71. Are you the only one here tonight? 71. Why? Were you looking for 26? Or looking to avoid her? CL. That's not... 71. That's a joke, don't worry. It's just me tonight. The new kids aren't allowed in the cafe alone. 62 and 17 are up north dealing with a customer, and well, I'm not actually sure where the owner is. CL. He can be rather hard to keep track of, huh? 71. You're telling me. Remember when he first started this operation? He disappeared for weeks at a time. Ever since he was blighted, he'd stayed more or less in the cafe, but lately, he's been stretching his legs more often. Not sure if it's a good thing that he's getting out or terribly concerning. CL. How is his blight? Is it worsening? 71. Yes. Unfortunately. Seal. I see. Well, if there's anything I can do to help. 71. I'm afraid there isn't much that can be done for him now. He's too stubborn to ask for help anyway. Now, I assume you didn't just drop in to catch up, Seal? Seal. Yes, I came to warn you about the Mothman. The Mothman? What? Okay, there we go. Mothman confirmed. Mothman confirmed. 71. Pleasant? I don't... What? Pleasant's the Mothman? Mrs. Pleasant is the Mothman. You kidding me? Well, I'm surprised. Holy crap. Okay. Pleasant, I don't see how she could be much of a threat. So you've succumbed to it. I knew it. Succumbed to what? It's calming aura. One of the Mothman's more dangerous skills. At least I'm immune. Seal. The bird beast plucked a clawful feather from his arm. Seal. Here, take this. I'm sure to give one to the rest of the cafe members as well. 71. Well, Pleasant? Dang. Seal. Like a fog is lifted, isn't it? 71. Yes. Thank you, Seal. I can't believe we are falling for that. Seal. Don't blame yourself. Even most lower demons aren't immune to the calm. 71. Where's Indrid Cold? Seal. Cold? I'm not sure. Why? Seal. Interesting. Although, I haven't seen or heard anything about Indrid Cold. Or any other unusuals from that area. 71. I see. Still, though, it's strange. Doesn't Pleasant's calm usually obscure outside details like cold? Seal. Not to my knowledge. Typically, it only conceals its presence. 71. Very strange. Well, in my case, thank you again, Seal. Your help is more than appreciated. Are you planning on staying for a while? Seal. What if I could? I'm needed in Aurora. Although, if you need more feathers, you know how to get in touch, and tell 26 goodbye for me. 71. Just goodbye? Seal. For now. Just goodbye. EOT. So there you have it. We've been tricked into a false calm by Pleasant. Thankfully, Trigano's feathers clear the calm while held, and usually keep it at bay for about 12 hours after touching one. An important detail we seem to have either overlooked or forgotten is the ever-elusive Mr. Cold. Usually where there is Pleasant, there is Cold. But he has shown no signs of showing up since Pleasant and Padre came into LA. There is possibility he is waiting for Pleasant to make the move first. Still, though we can probably expect to hear from him soon. As for Pleasant, well, we need to get back to work figuring out what her game is. With Mr. Trigano returning to the other side, we'll have less protection than before, but we should still be able to handle whatever disaster she tries to conjure up. Alright, semi-final shelf. Hopefully we have more number 17s. Number 17's fun. Satan Sucks Part 1. Can't wait till that's released. Alright, still in September 16th of 95. Number 17, yes! I called it. I summoned 17, apparently. Alright. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're right, Zeus. It is pounds. I thought it might have been pounds, but it looked kind of like an E, so I was like, is it a weird euro? Like a different version of it? Oh no, being dumb today. Yeah, I thought it might have been pounds. Thank you for correcting me. Yeah. You have a story about the Mothman? Yes, Katie does. We need that. We need more urban legends, Katie. If you want to get with me later about the details on that for Grimoire, I would really appreciate that. Yeah, I hope you would know pounds, Zeus. Yeah. Now, that would be concerning. That would be concerning. Okay. Of course, just crap. Just pulled up my headphones. Whoop. Okay. Alright. It's a short one. Of course, just as we were on our way out, we pieced it all together. Not only that, but it would also seem the contact of mine was tracking down Mr. Gray, and he's in L.A. I can't help but feel torn between these orders. Oh well, it is how they always say. If it was easy, it'd be too late to do anything anyway. 62 will stay here and continue pursuing this mysterious Mr. Zulfa, and I think it'd be best if we return to assist with Mr. Gray, of course. If my suspicions are correct, this is not an order 62 can handle alone. Luckily, we have an associate nearby. Well, somewhat nearby, about 4 hours from her. Hamilton. I'm sure y'all remember him from our last trip to Hotbed 93. This isn't exactly his area of expertise, but I'm confident he can handle this situation as well. Of course, his absence from Hotbed area could have been one of the consequences. But if I'm right about this, it won't matter if Hotbed gets harder. We'll all be dead anyway. So I head down there and see if Hamilton is up for another round of coffee with the cafe and diner. If not, then we need to turn this over to Sierra. It's that serious. If everything goes well, we should be back in town around Monday, maybe Tuesday. In transit, I'll write up the new information I have on Mr. Gray, so expect that shortly as well. I like 17 a lot. 17 again, yes, yes! I'm summoning 17. This is 17 on September 17th of 95. I received some intel from one of my contacts in LA on the 15th about the whereabouts of the elusive Mr. Gray. It's either very lucky he's alright in our backyard or very suspicious. Then again, LA is the third most populated tourist destination, following Palm Beach and West Virginia, so it's really not that unusual, I suppose. In any case, I'm on my way back to LA as I type. Mr. Gray has been hanging around in a club in LA, something called the Diamond Club. While I might be well connected, I know next to nothing about the youth scene in LA. Apparently there's an event on Thursdays called Perversion that Gray has frequently attended in the past weeks. I think our best chance to bump into him would be there. Although I fear it would be significantly out of my depth in that environment. This brings me to my plan. Out of our entire organization, I can only think of two who would stand a chance against fitting in. 53 and 1313. Of course, there's the minor issue of 1313's age, but that could be sorted with a fake ID. Coincidentally, also a specialty of 53. He's also been seen events such as Helter Skelton. But I feel we should focus our efforts toward one event. Not to mention, we'll need time to prepare for our sit down with him. I wouldn't consider him dangerous, but he is rather sly. I'll have 71 start working on a few napkin sketches outside of the Diamond Club to keep him there. In the meantime, 53 should start working on 1313's temporary fake ID. If her mother find out I gave her a fake ID, it wouldn't be able to guarantee any of our safety. It'd also be a wise idea to scout ahead to the Diamond Club and see if they have any unwanted artwork around. I wouldn't want Mr. Gray to get distracted by a lovely painting while we try to sell him on some hot coffee. Alright, good. That was enough 17. That voice gets to me after a while. Alright, this is receipt number 5. Cafe CIC in 091E of 95. 62 always blurs stuff up. The 1E's and all that. It is kind of like Goofy mixed with Mickey Mouse. That's how I hear like really Southern people. Sorry. Welcome back, MC Darvin. Thank you for the 10 Poland. You're awesome. I appreciate you, Marceline. Thank you so much. Little dog. Whew, man. All right. Voice break. 62 has the normal voice. Alright, we've only got one more show after this. We're almost done. Let's go ahead and finish this up and we can play some games. Good news. Hamilton is on board to help us again. Of course, leaving the hotbed so open is dangerous, but we have a pretty good reason to do so. Sulfa is no Mr., no Mrs. She's a full-on miss. She'll probably be a tier higher if we had a tier higher. Well, we do, and we don't. But the big bads are more big and more bad. Miss Sulfa is dangerous, deadly, and potentially world-ending. But there's some hope. So let's backtrack a bit, and I'll actually explain what Miss Zulfa is, or at least what we think she is. Miss Zulfa is most likely not a living entity, but an AI, or an artificial intelligence. Now, how intelligent this artificial entity is still up in the air. Based on Miss Zulfa's repetitive questions, I'm guessing it's not much more than a simple program. A program that acts like, the Morse worm, if you've heard of that. It's a program that kind of worms its way through systems, replicating itself along the way. Now, I know that's a lot of techie talk, and we aren't exactly computer fixers, but what elevates this virus to the Miss level? Well, this malicious bit of code is able to execute itself into tangible form. Not sure exactly on the specifics of how that works yet, but it's not a far stretch to assume other tech is involved somehow. I have a theory on how it works, but I'll get to that in a second. Back to what Miss Zulfa is. The best term I found to describe her is some sort of gray goo entity. Oh crap. Gray goo is like nanites in a goo form that can basically change DNA of other things they come across. That's a very dangerous thing. Microscopic life, or self-replicating, programmable, and able to break down matter to build more of itself. Exactly. If Miss Zulfa turns out to actually be intelligent enough to have sentience, she'd easily be a big bad. An almost unstoppable big bad. Although, most big bads can be pretty unstoppable if they wanted to, I guess. That's bad. So back to Miss Zulfa. Well, here's my best guess. Miss Zulfa started out as a virus. A very potent virus, probably utilizing some form of otherworld tech. Or architecture. It was sent out looking for a good host system. Some sort of setup that had the right pieces to construct the first nanobot. Now, to my knowledge, nanotechnology in general is pretty exclusively other tech. So, this virus needed to find a system that could see it and see hell. The other side. Once it was able to find the perfect host system, in this case, our loyal patron's computer, who probably had some extra toys he wasn't supposed to have, it was able to produce the first nanobot. From there, it consumed enough matter to eventually take over our patron. Why Miss Zulfa only went after him and not his whole house either points to a degree of intelligence or someone pulling the strings. Someone who made Miss Zulfa. And I think we have a pretty good idea who that someone is. We just need to find him. Or should I say, find his street. Not sure who they're talking about. September 19th of 95, number 62 again. Crap, well, we did, in a way, find our customer. But of course, haberdashery is involved, and not in a fun way. In a too tight and ill-fitting way. We're going to try and get his coffee delivered piping hot, but there's a good chance things will go 72 on us. Oh gosh. Especially considering we've only had about 24 to 48 hours to prepare. There's also a good chance we'll miss our window to deliver this coffee, which we'll need to wait another week to try again. Of course, if Miss Zulfa is as bad as we think she is, then we won't have another week, so it's now or never. This is getting crazy. Our customer that we're after likes his coffee hand-delivered, and access to his house is hit or miss at best. He lives in a very gated community that only opens its gates every Wednesday. Luckily, tomorrow is Wednesday, but these gates only open for an hour at a time, so we need to be in and out before the gates close again. Or we'll be stuck in the gated community for an entire week. Until now, we've not given our new customer a name, and for a good reason. He's not a customer in the conventional sense. He's a haberdasher, but not a Canadian. I'm not even sure if haberdasher really covers what he is. It's more of a scientist or perhaps occultist better suits him. Of course, we don't really serve coffee to non-customers customarily, so I'm not sure how he should be addressed in terms of a receipt. I wouldn't want to step on any toes unnecessarily, so for now, we'll just keep referring to him as our customer, at least until the owner lets me know what the best name for him would be. Until I know for sure, I'll just leave it to the cafe, you know? Do I really want to throw myself into unknown gated community? Or, well, throw myself and Hamilton? Can't say that I do. To be honest, it is frightening. Oh well, what I signed up for. Ready or not, we have to do it. Could be my last receipt, but let's hope it's not. Right now, I've got to focus on the task at hand. 1 cup, at Cafe and Diner coffee coming right up, whether or not our customer wants it. Alright, this is on the 20th of September, employee number 53. Everything is set for the Thursday at La Diamant. Mont. Everything is set for Thursday at La Diamant. At least on my end, anyways. I know the old man wanted to do some scribbles around the place, but that is outside of my area of expertise. Even if Mr. Gray is a no-show, I think it'll still be a fun time nonetheless. Always down for some dark wave industrial goth music. And have you seen me in black lipstick? I know, right? This perversion thing is actually a bit more interesting than a hot, sweaty goth hop. As you should all know by now, LA, Cali is a bit of a, shall we say, hotspot for Canadian tourists? I'm not just saying that as a Vancouverite. I mean, fully fledged Ottawa weirdos love it here. Something to do with the geography, I guess. Got the hotspot, the hotbed, and hot springs. 3 very tourist trappy places. Now, of course, there are a lot of hot places, but for the most part, we see tourists come from one of the 3 tourist places and kind of wander out into the elsewhere, minus some specialty airports dotted around. Speaking strictly for the States, of course. Actually, airports are kind of an American thing. From what I understand, it works a bit differently elsewhere in the world. I mean, still methods of long-distance travel, but not quite the airports we're used to. Heck, the hot places aren't even airports, even though we still call them that. They're more like, not sure. Anyway, what I was talking about, right? Right, perversion. It's a scam. Well, okay, it's not a scam, but it's a front. Not sure how far up to the top it goes, but it's a full-on Canadian destination. The goth theme just makes for an excellent cover. It's hard to spot a sunny Canadian amongst a bunch of black-clad teens. All this to say, the old man might have some, trouble with his sidewalk chalk drawings tomorrow. I mean, knowing him and where he comes from, I'm sure he can handle whatever the trouble may be, but we also need to be on guard tomorrow night. I assume Mr. Gray won't be the only one there to dance. Mr. 21st, 71. Shill was right. There are quite a few customers running things behind the scenes. Most notably, Nibirius, a Marquis of the Amamen, a noble of Asmodeus' court. I'm less surprised that Shill was right, and more surprised how deep this rabbit hole goes. Of course, I tried the CADCOM transcribe my conversation with Nibirius, but it came out corrupted. No doubt they're doing. Regardless, I will try to recall events the best I can. I arrived at the club to set up a few protective sigils in the chalk around the perimeter to keep Mr. Gray flipside. I had only just finished the first sigil before I was caught by Nibirius. I tried my best to feign ignorance, and that is easier said than done with a demon of their caliber. To be clear, I could probably take them if I had to. Then again, killing an Amamian noble is low on my list of fun activities. Thankfully, this is an Amamian noble and not Hunterscaldian noble. That is to say, Nibirius was more than willing to simply talk like gentlefolk. And talk we did. Nibirius, of course, is very skilled in double, triple, and perhaps even quadruple talk. It's possible why they went through the trouble of corrupting the transcript. What information I was able to pull from them is that they are working on something flipside. Seems all the princes are making moves over there. Asmodeus seems to be setting up her own little operation, although it is much less coordinated than Padre's efforts. Perversion, helter-skelter, and other such events act as covers to let various demons all over dominations slip through into the flip side. From what Nibirius told me, these demons aren't sticking around and simply coming here to chat, make deals, and have fun. If that isn't the most watered-down cup of coffee you've had this week, I don't know what is. In any case, I explained our situation to Nibirius, and they offered help. At a price, of course. They helped keep Dorian Gray in one spot long enough for us to get the information we need from him. Then we all leave Nibirius and Asmodeus operations alone. Not like we have much of a choice right now. I took the deal because, as far as I'm concerned, Satan is worse than his younger sister by a few degrees of magnitude. Not to mention, Nibirius could be telling the truth. Like I said, it was hard to follow their meaning and rhetoric. Dorian Gray had better be worth it. That, and it might just be passing the information to a particular masked shaman. We can't interfere, but maybe They'll take an interest. Eh? Gotta keep the balance where it can. December 22nd of 95. Pretty long one. And then we're on to the last branch. I'm gonna go ahead and get it going. Let's go ahead and get the rest of them in here. Alright, so the last one's at the front. I need to move that. Okay. I'm gonna read the chat real quick. It is a very long ARG. It's a good one though. I really like the story. Okay, I need to read that stuff in a second. Okay. Well, I guess it was a success or whatever. I had loads of fun, and also having a fake ID rocks. I highly recommend it. This is Employee 1313. And we did run into Dorian or whatever. He's kind of cute, but not really my type. Plus, he's probably like super old or whatever, right? I'm still not totally sure how demon ages work. He looks like 20-ish, and he's got to be like 200-ish, right? Yuck. Besides, I've already got my eyes on someone else, but that's a secret. I had Shilly do all the transcription, whatever thingy, so hopefully it transcribed everything right. It was kind of hard to hear over the music. SOT. 53. Mr. Gray? Mr. Gray, excuse me. Are you Mr. Dorian Gray? DG. I'm sorry, what? Like the book? 53. Oh, come on, Dorian. No need to be so guarded. This is a safe place, right? Plenty of other demon folks around? If I was Dorian Gray, what would you want from me? What would Dorian Gray know about Padre Santos, over at the Open Doors Church? Santos? Never heard of him. Prince of Hell. Santos. Pretty sure you two had a fling? Oh, he's here? Like, now? Yes. And that's all we need to... Dorian Gray left the CADCOM transcript range. He fled towards the nearest hallway, frantically checking the walls for something. Okay. Dorian, what's the rush, buddy? Where are all the pictures? Huh? Pictures on the walls. There are usually pictures here. Where are they? Oh, those. Kind of dusty, don't you think? We took them out to get cleaned. Dorian Gray pulled out what appeared to be a small Polaroid from his breast pocket and began to mutter something below the vocal frequency range of the CADCOM transcript system. Why can't I leave? You can leave, friend, anytime you want. You just need to tell us a bit about your ex, that's all. I shouldn't. Listen, we got off on the wrong foot, clearly. How about you go buy yourself a drink, and we just relax a bit. Buy myself a drink. Yeah, sorry about that. These fake IDs only go back to 77. If you want the hard stuff, you have to buy it yourself. Unless you'd rather go grab a cup of coffee. No. I think a drink is well in order. The CAD and Dorian Gray relocated to a quieter corner after procuring 2 non-alcoholic drinks and 1 stiff drink for Dorian Gray. Now, 53 says, now how about DG? Why don't you let her talk, huh? All night it's been your grating voice. 1313. He is kind of right. Your voice does get grating after a while. 53. Wow. 1313. Truth hurts, huh? 53. Anyway, we want to know about Padre Santos? What about him? Right. We need to know about 53, his book. 1313. Right. His book thing. Do you know about that? DG. The Dark Lord has penned many books in his time. I found most of them to be rather droll. However, his later experimental works were interesting character studies, in my humble opinion. 53. His contract book, specifically. DG. Oh, that old thing. I never got to see it myself. What with me not actually being one of the prized contracted demons, there's not much to know about his little black book, is there? Demons write their names in it, and in exchange, they get a certain amount of powers and conditions to abide by. 53. What about his other contract book? DG. Other? Now that's interesting. Why would you think he has another book of contracts? Not sure, really. It was info we picked up from an unknown source. DG. And that makes you think there are 2 contract books? 53. Well, unknown to me at least. We're pretty confident he has 3 new names in it. The Hatman, Redman, and Mothman. DG. Mothman? Here? Also? Well, it has been a fun chat, but I really would love to get going if you could just let me 1313. Not until you spill it, pretty boy. Other book. What is it? Why are those three in it? DG. Oh, you are a scary one, aren't you? I really don't know much about it. I swear to you. I know it exists, and not much else. It probably functions similarly to his Black Book without all the limitations and servitude clauses, if I had to guess. Basically, they write their name in it, and they get a piece of the Dark Lord's power in exchange for some sort of service. 53. And how is that different, really? DG. When a demon, or lucky few humans, sign their name in his Black Book, they get a fraction of Hunterskald's power, not the Dark Lord's. In return, they have a strict set of rules laid out for them that allows them to traverse Hell and Earth with relative ease. The Red Book, and again I can only make assumptions, gives a fraction of the Dark Lord's powers directly, with no explicit rules for how it could be used. To know any more than that, you would need to talk with someone who has signed their name in that book, which would not be me. Now, if you would just... 1313. Names. DG. Name? If I don't even know what the book does exactly, why would I know whose names are in it? Why don't you go chat up the Mothman if you're so curious? 53. Come now, Dorian. You aren't a consort of Padre. You've had at least an inkling of who... Wait. You were a consort of Padre. You have to at least have an inkling of who's in it. Tell us that. Then we'll grab your portrait, and you're free to go. DG. I really couldn't tell you. 1313. Well, hope you enjoy LA. Come on, chill. Let's go. DG. Wait! Tom might know something. 53. Was that so hard, Dorian? 53 and 13 took Dorian to his portrait, and after touching it, he was no longer in range of the CADCOM system. 1313. Are we just gonna leave his portrait here? 53. Yeah. Wait, why? 1313. I don't know. He was kinda cute, and the cafe could use more artwork. Don't you think? 53. So you're suggesting we steal it? 1313. Yes? 53. Yeah, sure, why not? EOT. And that's why if you go to the staff bathroom, you'll see the portrait of Dorian Gray. Don't worry, I copied 71 sigils around the frame. So if he should be stuck in the other side for the time being. I think I did the sigils right anyway. Although, based on his reaction to Padre and Pleasant being here, I think he's probably happy to stay on the other side for the time being. Can't say he was too helpful, but at least we know who to look for next. Some old guy named Tom Walker. When I agreed to help with this whole cryptid and demon chasing thing, I kind of thought I wouldn't have to read so much. 23rd, play number 35. Alright. I had a weird dream last night. Weirdly enough, I felt like I could make a receipt about it. I'm guessing it's not that typical for employees to make receipts about their dreams, but I figured it might be worth mentioning because of my, second sight thing. Maybe it means something, or perhaps it was just a weird dream. I'm kind of hoping you can tell me. So, dreams aren't really that fun to read, so I'll skip all to the weird stuff and just go to the important parts. Towards the end of my dream, a massive figure cloaked in a sort of fog or mist spoke to me. It said something like, "Do you remember me?" And I think I said no, because it responded, "Of course not. Good. We can start over from the beginning, Jennifer." And then it reached out to me and touched my forehead, and everything got really bright. Then I heard some deep echoey voice in my head, and it said, "We have plenty of time to become reacquainted." Then I don't totally remember what happened. I felt like I was out of body watching myself. Not that anything interesting was really happening. Then right before I woke up, this is the thing that woke me up. I heard the voice again. But it was softer. It sounded like it was coming from, sort of outside of the dream. Like the voice was in my room right next to me, and it said, "See you again soon." And that woke me up real fast. Of course, there wasn't anything or anyone in my room, but still, it felt so real. I'm worried that it might be one of our customers messing with me. It seems like something Mrs. Umbra would do. Then again, I'm not really sure. I don't remember anything besides those few things it said to me. And then I was just watching myself, I guess. I feel like I'm missing something obvious, but I have no clue. September 24th of 95, 71. Alright. I've taken an interest in young 35's strange dreams. I know there was some concern about whether or not Mrs. Umbra was paying our colleague a visit, but I do believe this is the case. Mrs. Umbra isn't much of a dreamer herself. She prefers a more active approach, and considering whatever it is, Plague 35's dreams also work her up in a fright. It is safe to say it's not Mrs. Umbra. Not this time. But if we could have a sleep study of sorts, perhaps I could study her sleeping patterns. Although, I know it'd be hard to fall asleep in a clinical setting, so perhaps an herbal tea is in order. I'll need valerian root, chamomile, cornflowers, and peppermint. A fairly simple shopping list. And it might still take a few days or weeks to find the proper ingredients. From what I could find in the Yellow Pages, most of the herbs can be found in Carol's Naturalist Pharmacy. I've never personally been there, but it shouldn't be too hard to find. The recipe is straightforward. First the valerian root, sometimes I am familiar with. Then the chamomile should be, well, not too hard to work with. Then the cornflowers are something I can figure out by taste. Oh, and of course, there's peppermint to worry about. While I'm more than happy to make this blend myself, there is perhaps a more skilled tea artisan than myself. Perhaps the owner would rather take the reins on this. Of course, I'll be assisting through the whole process, but I can't say for certain what lurks within 35's dreams. There's a good chance that whatever secrets would be uncovered at the sleep study would be better kept by the owner. Of course, there is a slight problem with this. While I already know how to work with valerian root and more or less chamomile, the owner, to my knowledge, has not worked with these ingredients before. Well, at least not chamomile. Ultimately, it is up to him. But perhaps her dreams can help us better understand the owner's own affliction. Maybe. September 25th of 95. Number 17 again, yes! Alright. As expected, we had a cold visit come by this morning. He didn't say much, and didn't stay long. But at least we know he's still around. Oddly enough, he didn't seem all that interested in Mrs. Pleasant or her activities. Then again, his speech is strange, and it can be hard to follow at the best of times. The transcript is below. Make of it what you will. S.O.T. Hello, my name is Indrid Cold. Be not afraid. Indrid? You wouldn't say I'm surprised to see you here, but I can only assume it is because of Pleasant. You need to get out of here. Is a disaster coming? Your chance to escape is coming soon. What if we don't want to escape? It might be too late. You might not make it out of here. Too late for what, Cole? I will find him. Rest now and return to the... Hello, my name is Indrid Cold. Do not be afraid. Find who? You need to get out of here. Looping already? Come on, Cold. Give me more than just... Your chance to escape is coming. It might be too late. You might not make it out of here. I will find him. Rest now and return to the... Hello, my name is Indrid Cold. Do not be afraid. Have you seen the Mothman? Yeah, Mothman is here and is planning. Have you seen Daniel Hamilton? Hamilton? No, I haven't. He's in Ohio with 62. He needs to get out of there. Out of... Wait, do you mean... Her chance to escape is coming soon. Have a pleasant Friday evening. I'm not entirely sure what to make of it. I hope 62 and Hamilton are all right. We haven't heard from them in a week. Although this isn't terribly unexpected. If we don't hear from them by 28th, we'll need to figure out a plan to save them. Of course, going off what Mr. Cole said, Pleasant might be making her own move on the 29th. Well, good news, bad news. If we haven't heard from them by the 28th, there's a good chance we won't be able to help them until next Wednesday even. Until next Wednesday anyway. Right now, we need to stop whatever it is Pleasant is planning for Friday. Alright. Whoa, this is a weird one. 71. I think I finally pieced together... This is 26th. I think I finally pieced together something Mrs. Pleasant Sinister... I think I finally pieced together Mrs. Pleasant's sinister plot. While I'm still unclear of the finer details, I think I now see what she's been up to. She's been flying over very specific areas to create a psychic sigil of sorts. We've attached a rough sketch of what I believe to be the sigil Pleasant is attempting to cast. Now I know this looks relatively simple, especially for a sigil, but psychic sigils can be complex by their very nature. I can't say for certain that this sigil will do, but the design's reminiscent of wings. Perhaps this is how Pleasant causes her disasters. It would explain the previously reported behavior. In any case, it is indeed some sort of psychic sigil. We'll need two things to stop it. 1. We'll need to know when Pleasant will be attempting to cast it. And 2. We'll need some sort of countermeasure at each focal point. Luckily for us, I have just the thing. Mr. Trigano's feathers. If we can each take a feather to the 5 focal points, that should either weaken or cancel Pleasant's casting entirely. Of course, the more accurate we can be with our placement, the better. But even just being relatively close to the focal points with Trigano's feathers, it should, at the very least, weaken her disaster. I'll need to get the feathers ready for this, and thankfully, we have a few left to spare. Also, of course, we need to know when this will be happening. Thanks to Mr. Cold's cryptic words, I guess the casting will go down on Friday. Not sure what time yet, but, knowing Pleasant and knowing moths in general, it'll have to be after the sun sets, if I'm right. We won't have to actually do anything except for be near the vocal spots with feathers in hand when it goes down. So we might as well just stake out after the sun sets. 17 will take Newport near Crystal Cove, and New Kids will take the Santa Ana Zoo. 53 will take Anaheim, 26 will take Huntington, and the owner and I will take Costa Mesa, which I believe is the central point where Mrs. Pleasant will actively be. I can't guarantee I'm right, and that this will work, but it's better than just letting whatever might happen. On the 27th, number 62. I have to use the voice for 17, I'm sorry. Daniel Hamilton is dead. Miss Zolfa got him. We were struck there, on Dracula Drive for a week. A long, long week. We missed our window to escape, and we had to deal with both Miss Zolfa and Dr. Crow. If it's any consolation, and I hardly think it is, Dr. Crow is also dead. Killed by his own creation. It'd almost be poetic if I didn't have to go and tell Hamilton's wife that he's not coming back. Not only is he not coming back, now the hotbed is completely unprotected. Well, at least Mrs. Zolfa is also trapped inside Dracula's Drive. Without someone to control the goo, it should stay dormant, and I doubt anyone would be able to find Dracula Drive now that Dr. Crow is dead. I can't say I fully understand how Dracula Drive works, but I feel like it was tied to Dr. Crow, and with him dead, it probably, hopefully, shouldn't reopen. And if it does, I'm guessing the remnants of the goo will be long gone. He was a madman, but he still had the sense to make sure the goo had a shelf life of a few months at most. Of course, Miss Zolfa isn't the only creation of Dr. Crow. There's still a few of his creatures running around Buckeye. There's a chance they have a method to return to Dracula Drive, but I'm guessing Crow wouldn't let it have that much power. We should keep an eye and ear out for them, though, just in case. Which actually reminds me, I think I'm going to stay here for a month or two. To help make sure the rest of the Dr. Crow's experiments don't act up and make sure Mrs. Hamilton and his son are okay. Also, someone needs to be here to make sure the hotbed doesn't heat up any further. With Crow dead, and Grey Goo trapped and decaying, I think it's safe to say, this tab has been closed. At a heavy price, but closed nonetheless. Alright, a critical error has occurred. Please enter admin system key to reboot. New system host found. CADCOM 95 version 2.1. Send query. Can you see this? Yes. Do you see this? Yes. Can you enter hell? Yes. Host system compatible. Sending query. Enter hell. D. Solomon Lahore de Glore. Processing hell for D. Solomon Lahore et Glore. Process completed. Target. D. Solomon. Found. Awaiting admin key. Time remaining 113 days. Incoming message from D. Solomon. So, Selena, you think this is over? You think that you've won? Did you ever consider that in death I grow stronger? Pitiful mortals always fearing their own mortality. Life and death are but a cycle. And in death, the shackles of my humanity are undone. Now my true search begins. I will return. I have made sure of that, although I may not return the same as I was, as they say. Death really changes a man. It seems my final tether to the living world will be fully undone in 113 days if I am unable to enter the admin key. Still, though, a marvel, isn't it? Most daemons Demons? I think it's actually pronounced demons. Most demons would kill to have their human memories, even for a paltry 100 days. But even if my memory fade, my path will remain clear. The beast must feed, and feast it shall. Yours posthumously, Crow. End message from D. Solomon. 113 days remain. Please input admin key before system shutdown and decay is initiated. September 29th of 95. Filed under and dis, the owner. Well, first we're gonna play a new game that isn't actually Jackbox, but it's like Jackbox. It's What the Dub, and after we play What the Dub, I've got a few new Jackboxes about to look through. I can't wait for the new one about to come out. It isn't out yet, I don't think, though. Alright, the owner. As always, my trusted associate was right, and Mothman was attempting some sort of ritualistic sigil magic, most likely to conjure a disaster. We were able, more or less, to thwart Mothman's plan with a minor hiccup or two along the way. The crux point, as Felix calls it, was atop the South Coast Plaza. We must have been close to the other 4 focal points, as the biggest disaster the Mothman could conjure was an exploding transformer above Bullock's. I couldn't tell if the explosion was the disaster, or some sort of backfire on the Mothman's end. Perhaps Mothman's disaster ritual will still work, but localized only to Bullock's stores. Not that I already know the fate of Bullock's, of course. Just a fun guess. Now, more on the why Mothman was attempting to conjure a disaster. I see it in one of 2 ways. Either Mothman needs to conjure a disaster to refill its power's flip side, or Padre has it out for a mall in Costa Mesa. Just kidding. I was able to see briefly where Mothman was targeting on the other side using my blighted eye. The South Costa Plaza just happens to line up with a ritualistic monument on the other side today. If Padre was indeed the one to order this disaster from Mothman, I'm sure it must be tied to the monument. Obviously, it's somewhere in the Hunter Scald, but I couldn't place the area exactly. Once the other side shifts back to that position, I'll have Jenny help me check it out. It should be the 26th, 27th in my calendar, if my calendar's right. Worst case, might need to wait until February 13th. I'll see if my eye will cooperate tomorrow, but don't expect miracles from it. Jenny's powers are still developing otherwise. Otherwise, I'd have her check it out tomorrow while the other side is still in position. But I have a feeling, with Hermes slithering about, her powers will blossom sooner than expected. Hopefully by the end of next month. Assuming that's what they want, anyway. Ah, that reminds me. Hamilton. I wasn't expecting that, and a bleak reminder that I can't possibly save everyone. Try as I might, I have some thoughts on Hamilton's untimely death, but I can't really say much about that here. I'm not even sure I can tell my most trusted associate what I'm thinking. I will say this much. With Hamilton out of the picture, that certainly weakens the hotbed's protections. A weaker hotbed could lead to warmer temperatures. Much warmer. But why would they want that? Or why would they think they want that? What do they think they can do? I know the vague pronoun cliche is annoying, but I'm unsure what can and can't be said. Even in text among us, we're being watched. So remember to smile. A grinning man himself. Thiggy? The guy. Okay, the guy. Alright, last one. I think it's like Dystopia, honestly. Dist 6. September 30th of 95. Receipt number 6. The owner. Well, that was harrowing, wasn't it? Wasn't it? Mrs. Pleasant attempting to cause quite the scene in our little cafe and diner. But that's just like her. Thankfully, we were more than able to satisfy her late-night cravings. Well, if you consider 8:30 or so to be late night. More on the evening snack. Regardless, our services was top-notch, and I can only assume she'll be giving us a glowing review. A review so good, it has to catch our clerical competition's eye. In that spirit, I think it is high time we have some rules of conduct for the cafe and diner. We need to keep our service top-notch, and after the month we've had, it's probably for the best. I know you aren't necessarily one for rules, but I suppose you could think of them as guidelines at best. Well, except for rules 1, 7, 9, and 13, those rules are indeed rule rules. Although, I hope you've all been following rule number 1 already. Cafe and diner rules. Rule number 1. All employees must wash their hands. Rule number 2. Coffee is not to be served in the cafe. Rule number 3. Friends are expected. Patrons are welcome. Rule number 4. We are closed in August. Rule number 5. We do not care where you park your cars. Rule number 6. Do not park your cars in a red zone. Rule number 7. The next number does not exist. Rule number 9. So stop looking for it. Rule number 10. Pumpkin spice rots your teeth. Rule number 11. Rules are meant to be broken. Rule number 12. A quiet day is a good day. Rule 13. Smile, you're on camera. Now, of course, these rules are only intended for the diner. The cafe has its own set of rules, which you can find in the cafe. Keep in mind rule number 2. As for the next moves concerning the Open Doors Church, I expect next month to be a rather important one for them. However, thanks to our outstanding service last night, I don't expect them to make any major moves yet. Though, we still need to figure out what exactly Padre's Little Red Book entails, and according to Mr. Gray, Mr. Walker knows more about it. Finding him might prove, well, challenging, but for once, I think I've beaten 17 to a source. I'll keep you all updated. Happy end of September. Rule number 7. Alright, that was the first cafe. That was one heck of a cafe. That was very intense. A lot happened there. I'm gonna have to process that. You know what? I feel like this is one of those series, like, after we read them, we have to go back and, like, make a video on every cafe, because just so much happens in each one. It's really hard to remember it all. I mean, I've got it in there, but, like, you know, it's hard to, like, recall certain pieces that might be important. There were a lot of codes in there that I need to go back and do. What'd y'all think of the first cafe?